On Tuesday, California is holding an extremely important Democratic primary for President of the United States. Please come out and vote. Please show the world that California understands it's too late for establishment politics. We need real change. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Hi, that was Bernie giving you a message, and Josh Fox actually had a good message about that earlier. So goes California, so goes the rest of the world. And California right now is facing some of the most grave issues in the United States regarding climate change. We're seeing the effects of it right now across that state, and the governor is with the establishment on fracking, and they are planning on expanding fracking in California. It is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of, to frack in a place that we know a major earthquake is imminent, and that is wrought with drought, to contaminate the only water they might have with fracking wastewater and potentially cause more earthquakes than you're waiting to already have. Just kind of seems really stupid, but this is our government and how they function. Hi, everybody. We've got a lot to cover. We've got about 6.5 minutes. We've got Bernie Sanders' speeches and events is going to bring us this, we hope. This is at the, this is not at the Coliseum, and Scott's joining me here today. And hang on a second, let's turn audio on for Scott there. Hey, Scott, how you doing, my friend? He's muted. Sorry, everybody. Scott wasn't expecting to come on. That's my bad.
It's outside the Coliseum.
It's outside. What is it? What is the place that they're in, actually?
It calls it the Plaza. I've never really noticed that there, but it was built for the Olympics, so there's probably a pretty substantial plaza around the Coliseum.
Okay. Okay. So not in the Coliseum proper, but outside in a different area there. So I saw a lot of people wondering the size of the event. I have no idea. I'm sure it's a hell of a lot of people. But I also know that it's hotter than hell out there, right? So I've got to be careful with what's going on. I wanna play a couple things real quick. First of all, we talked this morning on the newsroom about the fact that Muhammad Ali passed away, died yesterday. And Ali was, yes, everybody knows he was a great athlete, a boxer, but he was also a civil rights activist. He was also an anti-war activist. He was also an anti-establishment activist. He was a Muslim preacher. And he refused to go to Vietnam. And in honor of him, I think we should just take a few minutes to listen to why.
Ali defeated Foley by a knockout in the 7th round. Immediately thereafter, he walked into the teeth of a monumental decision. He was drafted, and then he refused induction on the grounds of his religious convictions on war.
My conscience won't let me go shoot my brother or some darker people or some poor, hungry people in the mud for big, powerful America and shoot them for what? They never called me nigger. They never lynched me. They never put no dogs on me. They never robbed me of my nationality, raped and killed my mother and father. What, I'm going to shoot them for what? How can I go shoot them? Them little poor little black people, little babies and children and women. How can I shoot them poor people? Just take me to jail.
While fighting imprisonment for his stand, Ali was also stripped of his title, denied a license to fight in the United States, and denied a visa to go overseas to fight. He was in a much tighter financial bind than most were aware of.
I don't want to see the world heavyweight champion driving the Volkswagen, guys in the Cadillacs and making fun of you. So I'm working today, I'm hauling, right? And so one day I had to speak at Canisius. Heard of Canisius? Canisius, Fairleigh Dickinson, C.W. Post. 3 colleges at $1,500 a college. Pretty good money. So I broke my wife's piggy bank. She had about $35 in it. $135. I broke the piggy bank to get gas money to get me to the college. And I got enough gas and food money to get the $4,500, the $1,500 lecture. At $45 would hold me, pay gas bills, light bills, till I get to the next college. This went on until the whole mess was over.
Inevitably, students would challenge Ali on his stand and his convictions. Remarkably, Ali more than held his own against students who had a far better formal education than he.
I'm saying you talking about me about some draft, and all of you white boys are breaking your neck to get to Switzerland and Canada and London. I'm not going to help nobody get something my Negroes don't have. If I'm going to die, I'll die now, right here fighting you. if I'm gonna die, you my enemy. My enemies are white people, not Viet Congs or Chinese or Japanese. You my opposer when I want freedom. You my opposer when I want justice. You my opposer when I want equality. You won't even stand up for me in America for my religious beliefs, and you want me to go somewhere and fight, but you won't even stand up for me here at home.
And that was Muhammad Ali. He had the courage and the balls to stand up for what he believed in, and he was against war. And at a time when black people didn't have any kind of equal rights at all, not like they do today at all, but far worse in 1961. He had the courage to stand up and say that. He reminds me a lot like Bernie Sanders, who's been saying the same message for 30 years. Right? So that's how I want to remember Ali, and I just wanted to hit that really quick. Minute 37 seconds this is supposed to start, and it's supposed to have bands. We're supposed to have a lot of musicians, a lot of different groups. Scott's been trying to educate me on some of who they are. What's the name of that one band?
Ozomatli.
Ozomatli. Scott has a story about them. Tell everybody what the deal is with Ozomatli and Rage Against the Machine and what was going on.
I was in charge of stage security at the Democratic Convention protest in Los Angeles.
and they played
2000, and we originally wanted Rage Against the Machine to close the show, but they said no, we want to go earlier, let Ozomatli close so that the crowd will be in a more festive mood at the end. We leave the crowd angry, and they'll be leaving angry if we close the show.
Smart move. I mean, I'm all agreeing with that. I think that was smart. And then what happened? So they played. They're obviously a protest band. And what year are we talking about here? What year is this?
2000 was.
Okay, this is in 2000. So this is pre 9/11. This is before we went all dick swinging gung ho.
Yeah. Well, is it 2000?
Well, don't. I know you've been to so many protests, and
Al Gore was the nominee.
yes, that's 2000.
That's
Absolutely.
2000. Yeah.
Okay, so it's 2000, and now we're just waiting for Bernie Sanders' speech and events to start. Everybody, I'm looking at the live event right here. By the way, before Scott continues the story, which gets good because the police are involved. If you find a local feed, we're looking for a local feed. We're looking for anything that's live right now. We're really not sure what's going to happen with this one because they tend to cut music. But Scott, tell everybody what happened. The police jumped in.
Yeah, it was right after Seattle. I remember even Democrats who are usually good on issue were talking about these protesters. They're not going to come here and burn down our and everything. So they wanted us in Pershing Square, which was a long ways from the Staples Center. And that's where they wanted all the protests to be. But we won in court to get a parking lot right near the Staples Center. And so Rage is already off the stage. There were people that were throwing plastic water bottles over the fence at the police. The police weren't inside; they were outside the fence.
So people were throwing over the fence at the police. They were inside, listening to the concert. Okay.
And so Ozomatli's on the stage. They They had these barricades when you came in. There was just these narrow openings that people had to go through to get into the protest area.
Herd like cattle, yes.
Everything else was fenced. And they said, they cut the power and they said, you have 15 minutes to clear the area.
Well, that's not very nice.
Yeah, we had thousands of people packed into that parking lot. And it was really hard getting them all out. And I remember, because my role as stage security, I was waiting for all of the performers and organizers and everybody to get out before I left. And before I left, the horses came in, and and they're trying to direct you to the area, but it was really hard to find a way out that you weren't walking into a horse.
Okay. So they were causing more problems than they were trying to solve, and they cut the power on the band, right?
Right. Yeah.
They just cut the power on the band. Police, I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen here, but
Oh, I don't think it'll happen at that event. No.
no, we didn't say Rage Against the Machine just played. Scott's recalling an old story of his older protest days way back in 2000. It's just we're just talking about bands and the difficulty that protest bands have with being protest bands. I mean, if police come and shut the power, that's what are you going to do? And the fact that they were trying to avoid Rage because Rage Against the Machine played earlier, just so they wouldn't have a bunch of pissed off people at the end. And Scott was playing the music from this band, and that they are definitely much more upbeat than Rage Against the Machine, and I could see why. That definitely it's definitely a good move.
No, we thought it was clear that what really was happening was they were sending a message. They said, "You beat us in court. You got this parking lot. We can move you out of here anytime we want."
Right, but that was an important part, was that the fact that you guys had won the right to have your protest where you were and be where you were, right? And the police were pissed off about it.
Yeah, there were actually a team of U.S. Marshals that were for community relations, and they even said afterwards that they were trying to get the police to move back out of reach of the water bottles and everything. That's all that had to happen.
Right. The police needed to move, not stay there and be antagonizing.
Everything would have been fine.
Right.
We were, the peacekeepers and everything inside were trying to calm everything down. And if you took away the target, then everything would have been fine. There were fences all around. There weren't a threat to the convention itself.
Right. Understand. Tales of Protest with Scott. And we're going to be doing more of that.
Even Horowitz was one of the people who got caught inside.
Ah, really? Interesting.
Covering it for something. He was coming out of the convention. And
very cool. All right, we're going to shift gears from Scott's war stories of protest and move on to a video that we need to talk about. We need to watch this. It's a little long. It's 10 minutes, 10 and a half minutes. But this is Josh Fox, and he just put out the last part of his trilogy, the third movie in the trilogy, about the fossil fuel industry, about where we stand in climate change. This one, I'm a little confused. I'm going to have to watch it because they say it presents a hopeful look at where we sit with climate change, because it talks about the good things in humanity and stuff. But what I really want you to pay attention to here is what Josh has to say. And he wrote an article in EcoWatch that says all of these things. Listen to the facts. Listen to the words he says about the time we really have and what we have to get done and what's already going to happen. Because this is the mindset, this is the important part that we need to get across to everybody, that it's too late. It's too late to stop the impending damage, but it's not too late to do everything we can to lessen the damage and to lessen the amount of death that's going to happen. It's really what Josh is saying. But the more important takeaway here, and I'm gonna play this until they kick into the rally, and then we'll pick it up afterwards. I hope we get through the really juicy part. But the more important part I want you to hear from Josh. Hillary Clinton wants a 40-year bridge of fossil fuels, of fracking, that will destroy our planet. And we can't afford that. That is the key I want you to listen to. Josh Fox on TYT, everybody.
Look at this, Josh Fox in the house. Award-winning director for Gasland, and obviously he's got well, I don't know if it's obvious, you got a new movie coming out.
New movie coming out.
It's coming out today in L.A. How to Let Go of the World and Love All the Things Climate Can't Change.
Well done. It's a long title.
It is. It's a mouthful.
Yeah.
Great to have you here.
Thanks. It's great to be on. I'm a big fan.
You should put Star Wars Episode 8 in front of that.
Well,
Yeah.
it is a
Is that allowed?
trilogy,
I
but
think
no.
sure, yeah.
But this is the third film in the trilogy, and anyone who grew up in the 70s and 80s knows that a trilogy
That's
is
right.
based on Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. So this is kind of the Return of the Jedi chapter.
Okay,
It's the last of this.
At the end of the
trilogy.
movie, is there no more fracking left?
Well, no. There's fracking
gotta
all over
reboot.
the place, and that's a big problem. And in America right now, we're actually barreling on a course towards fracking if we keep this current regime in power.
Unfortunately, this trilogy is nonstop Empire Strikes Back.
Well, this one is actually really positive. The operative word in the title is love.
Yeah, actually, I want the audience to quickly see a part of the trailer because it's really inspiring and it makes you feel good.
Okay.
So let's take a quick look at that.
It is a feel good.
What are the things that climate change can't destroy? What are those parts of us that are so deep that no storm can take them away?
I love that because it just reminds you of how much culture there is out there and how much beauty there is out there, and even among all the ugliness we talk about on the show on a daily basis, there's still so many good things to look forward to.
Well, I think we've become obsessed with the things. We will become obsessed with the things that climate change will destroy. We know that when we get to 2 degrees, for example, we're at 1, and for all intents and purposes, we're already at 1.5 degrees right now. So if we do anything except turn everything off right now, we're in for a lot of really difficult times as a human race and as a world. We lose 30% or 50% of the species on the planet. We have 5 to 9 meters of sea level rise built in at 2 degrees. That means say goodbye to New York, Philadelphia, Boston, Miami, New Orleans, parts of Los Angeles.
I thought this was supposed to be feel good. What happened?
Yeah, but when you encounter the real facts about climate change, and how far we are along the road of not having done enough about it. And you realize that that's the how to let go of the world part of the title. It's devastating. And
When do we
puts you
lose-
into a sense of
When do we lose those places?
grief? Well, see, a question is always when. The answer is now. It's happening now. And it's going to continue to happen and continue to get worse. Because when we think of the question when, that often means, well, how much time do I have left to be lazy and not act about climate change?
Well, but I mean,
and the answer is actually no time left at all. But, and
No,
I'll
but
get into
that's
that.
not what I meant.
Okay.
But I hear you. That I didn't mean it as a. Well, I mean, no, I didn't mean it skeptically.
Right.
I meant like, when are people moving? Like, when are people?
Well, this
fleeing?
is a
When-
really good
yeah.
question to ask. People are relatively easy to move compared to, let's say, a nuclear power plant.
Right.
It takes 20 to 30 years to decommission a nuclear power plant. And we have a dozen of them along the East Coast.
I was going to say, luckily,
So-
none of them are by the water, right?
So, oh yeah. Well, not every one of them, but there's a dozen of them along that area that could flood. So the question is, are you going to bet right now that the sea level won't rise a couple of feet in the next 20 or 30 years when we know that we hit 2 degrees, I think it's something like 2036. That's very close to now. We have to start to move those things before we move right now. And that's one of the things that, when you see the sobering impacts of climate change and how far we are, and then not having dealt with that you have to realize we've lost a lot of these battles that we are still fighting. You know what I mean? Because it's baked into the climate. So
But Josh, what are the chances you'd have a severe storm that would hit a nuclear power plant by the water? Like, that's never happened before, has it?
No.
Can't happen in the
Well,
Western Hemisphere. Everybody
Tsunami,
knows that.
one of the things that people don't understand is that actually climate change and tsunamis and climate change and volcanic eruptions and earthquakes are related. Because as you change the stresses on the planet Earth by increasing or decreasing where water is frozen water in particular, you could unbuckle seams that unleash a tsunami. There's all sorts of impacts that people don't recognize. You know, the onset of infectious diseases that are normally seen as tropical diseases, migrating to warmer temperatures, migrating to from the tropical regions. It's a very, very bleak picture.
We're experiencing that right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how.
Oh, sure.
With Zika, I don't know if it was all related to climate change, but I don't.
So my question is, in the movie, first about climate change, we answered that question relatively quickly. And as a journalist and an investigator, you kind of get derailed when you've answered your question. Normally your movie's over by that time. So this movie takes a 180-degree turn right in the middle and says, well, what are the things that climate can't change? And those are our civic virtues. Those are the things that we think about, I think, have been redefined by the idea of political revolution. In America, those are, love, compassion, democracy, human rights, community, innovation, creativity, courage. These are the things that underpin so much of the climate action. And the second half of the movie is going all over the world, 6 continents, 12 countries, to visit with the people who are really climate warriors and climate heroes, that in each one of these instances we distill different virtues and start to talk about the things that we need to get through the climate catastrophe with any sense of human dignity. We're going to need to change our values.
Josh, that talk of political revolution, I mean, that sounds like you might be for Sanders or something.
Oh, yeah. Well, I am a Sanders surrogate, so I go out and talk about Sanders.
So seriously, the difference between Sanders and Hillary Clinton on fracking?
Couldn't be more clear. When you hear them debate, it sounds like they have the same kind of position. Let's move towards renewable energy. So Bernie Sanders is saying we go to renewable energy right now because climate change is the #1 security threat for the United States and for the entire world. Let's just go. Hillary Clinton is saying, oh yes, renewable energy, but after this natural gas bridge. And what does that natural gas bridge mean? Well, it means building 300 new fracked gas power plants across America. That means hundreds of thousands of miles of pipelines, probably 2 million new fracking wells onshore in America. That means an entire regime change of American electricity from coal to, not to renewable energy, which we need, but to fracked gas. That's a long bridge. The only person that wants to spend 30 years on a bridge is Chris Christie. And that's not a sane energy policy. That is handing over our American energy grid to oil and gas.
Because we can't do it, it's hard enough to do it once. Like, essentially, this asks that we change our source of energy twice.
Oh, sure.
That we do it, and that is almost a political non-starter.
Well, but you don't finance a natural gas power plant for 5 years.
That's right.
You don't build, you like your house, you're financing that for 30 years or 40 years. You need to pay it off over that time. So that means you're locked in to a need for natural gas in the energy supply system for decades to come, and those decisions are being made now. And that's why we started this film at Sundance Film Festival. It was in Sundance Film Festival. It was amazing. And now we're touring it all across America. It's called the Let Go and Love Tour, like my t-shirt says. And that means we're bringing the film to 100 cities across America that are in the middle of one of those fights, fighting a pipeline, fighting a power plant, fighting onshore fracking, offshore drilling, tar sands expansion, because the fossil fuel industry is actually expanding right now at the very time we need to actually scale it back. And the Clinton policy here is more fracking, more fracking, more fracking in the United States.
That's unfortunately a great example of how gradualism oftentimes doesn't mean we're building a bridge to the future. It means, no, we're gradually going to do this for 30 to 40 years.
Well,
which then means you're not president 30 to 40 years later. So that means, no, this is my actual policy. Right.
This is why I'm here in California. I'm speaking at the rally for Bernie tomorrow night in LA, the next night in San Diego. Because fracking and climate change, those issues have come together. Because if we frack for 30 or 40 years, we don't have frack gas is the worst fuel source that we can use for the climate. You know what happened in Aliso Canyon. You know what happens when natural gas starts leaking into the atmosphere. Methane, fracked gas, is 84 times more potent in the atmosphere than carbon dioxide is. So if carbon dioxide is one blanket warming the atmosphere, natural gas or fracked gas is 84 blankets. So you're heating up the world much, much faster. And the natural gas out of all these operations, the power plants, the pipelines, the LNG terminals, they're leaking like crazy. They're leaking at huge percentages. Like in some cases, in LA here, 17% of the natural gas that's fracked, harvested, delivered, and burned, 17% of it is leaking into the atmosphere as methane in LA. And you know, Porter Ranch, when that popped off, was the #1 climate emission source in the world, single source of climate greenhouse gas in the world.
Is that right?
Yep. And it went on for 4 months.
It
went on
Tom's
forever,
right.
yeah.
We're still #1.
Yes, we are still #1 in several things. Population in prison. We're #1 in healthcare costs. We're #1 in oil production. We are #1 in environmental disasters, and we are #1 in fracking. We have a lot of things to be proud of. Yes, we are #1. We are the #1 arms dealer in the world. We sell more weapons than anybody else. We make more weapons than anybody else. We create more wars than anybody else. We fight more wars than anybody else. We end more wars than anybody else. We're a great nation. We're just waiting for this to kick in, everybody. Waiting for Bernie Sanders speeches and events. We have another channel today that we're just checking in on. This is live presidential rallies and events. Google them, find them. We'll get those links to you. And you're welcome to watch these events. Got an ant on me there. Hi, ant. Go ahead and crawl on the desk. Go ahead and watch those events on the original channels if you want, or find them if they're broadcast live on any of the establishment networks. That's what we're doing, is trying to find a scrape and bring it into you. Right now, nothing's started yet. I'm just waiting. And I have some other things to run. Understand what Josh is saying, guys. It's too late to stop the damage that's on the way. Okay? Hard times ahead. If we were to stop using fossil fuel today, still have hard times ahead. We know we're not going to stop fossil fuels today. We know we're not going to stop fossil. Well, we don't know what's going to happen, but stopping them today, stop using them today is just not going to happen. Norway decided to ban the use of vehicles by 2030. That's pretty big. They're the first country to do that. Petrol vehicles, gasoline vehicles, no longer in Norway. Going to have alternative. They're moving forward. Unfortunately, what Norway does is not enough to change the rest of the world. We use more oil than anybody else. Even China kicking our ass left and right on renewables there in terms of development. We did add more renewable jobs, and we did invest more in renewables. There are some good things. Take a look at that. This is a cool chart. I remember in the 80s when I was thinking, yeah, solar, duh. Why not? I mean, it just makes so much sense. I don't get it. What's everybody's problem here? This chart is cool. This is a graph of the cost of solar, price of solar panel per watt, and global solar panel installations. And this tracks from 1975 to 2015. And today, global solar panel installations are at 64,892 megawatts at a cost of 61 cents of solar panel per watt. That is dirt ass cheap. It is why the oil industry is going under. It is why the end of the fossil fuel is here. We have the technology, and that isn't even the best. They just came out with a new, this is based on photovoltaic efficiency of around 24%. They just came out with a new cell that's like 36%. Blows the shit out of this. So cost is going to go down even more. So we have the technology, we have the means, we have everything we need except for one thing. Our government is in the way. Our government is in the way of our progress, of our evolution as a people. And so we need to get the government out of our way, the establishment government, by vote or by force. And we're trying vote right now with Bernie Sanders in a political revolution. Everything's stacking pretty good in our favor right now. We just need California to kick some serious ass and get out the vote for Bernie, and all the other states that Hillary Clinton doesn't give a shit about too. That would be, well, the Virgin Islands is today. I don't know how you guys did, waiting to hear on that. Tomorrow is Puerto Rico, and Puerto Rico has got some problems. Let me check in on the events here, make sure we're not missing anything, guys. And we got a message in live production. 531. Thank you, Laura Live and Good. I really appreciate that. Hi, everybody. That's a lot of people out there. Look at all the states that the DNC really doesn't feel need to cast a vote. We really don't matter, you guys. Not to the DNC and Hillary Clinton. California, she all of a sudden decided mattered. Montana, New Jersey, New Mexico, South Dakota, and North Dakota. And of course, District of Columbia, which is all, that's a mess right there. But California, Montana, New Jersey, New Mexico, South Dakota, North Dakota, and District of Columbia, all voting on the 7th. And we're going to do everything we can to get that vote out. Everything we can to, we need to raise the roof. We need to amplify our voices as loud as we can. And we need to get Bernie Sanders and his message in front of everybody. And the real message is very simple. It's what Josh Fox says. Do you want to live in a complete dystopian world? Or do you want to fight for a chance to live in something a little better? Hillary Clinton is going to give us 30, 40 years of fracking. That's what she wants. She wants them to make more money and not be charged any taxes, right? And continue to destroy the environment. We hand them subsidies. They don't pay any taxes. They destroy our environment. Anybody voting for Hillary Clinton is voting for the destruction of the planet. And I don't know where your brain is, but it's not attached to your shoulders because you're voting for the destruction of your planet. We don't have any time left. We are already going to face we are facing horrible disaster around the globe. And California, you are in a shitstorm of trouble. I fear for the lives of everybody in California right now because of your governor and his idiocy and what you guys are doing to your ground. Yeah. So I'm just saying, everybody. I'm just saying. California is with Bernie. I know you guys are. I know you are. You guys are smart. Massive voter suppression going on out there, though, with the NPP votes. So I really, really hope that you guys push forward with that. I know there was a lawsuit that was filed ahead of time. It's like, we know you're screwing us. We're just going to get this legal proceeding going right now. So I hope we've taken care of that. Puerto Rico is a heartbreak of just everything that is wrong with democracy. And we're still vamping here. We're waiting for this to start. So what I'm going to do is run this Puerto Rico clip. Know that what this gentleman is talking about, the delegates from prison, that's been resolved. The Sanders campaign sent some lawyers in, and they got that resolved. But it was an attempt, a blatant, obvious attempt by the DNC leadership in Puerto Rico to stop the prison vote for Bernie Sanders. Blatant. Are they talking about it? No. It's just ridiculous. So let's listen to this guy. This is in Puerto Rico. Oh. Start from the beginning. It's better.
Hi, my name is Kurt Hackbarth, and I'm a member of Grassroots for Bernie, and decided to make this short video to inform everyone about the situation with the Puerto Rico Democratic primary coming up this Sunday. I'm making this video because there's been hardly any news about it in the English language media, and the situation there is really critical. So let's go back and let me tell you what's going on and how this got started. On May 5th, the head of the Puerto Rico Democratic Party, his name was Roberto Prats, announced that there were going to be 1,510 polling places for the Puerto Rico Democratic primary. He said that they were holding the Democratic primary on the same day as the local primaries in Puerto Rico, specifically as a cost-effective measure, so that they could both use the same polling places on the same day and get a cost savings, which sounded great. However, just last Friday, Prats announced that no, there weren't going to be 1,510 polling places. There were only going to be 455, and that number has since been reduced to 432. Now, what he said when he made this new announcement was that the poll workers were all being used for the local primaries, so there weren't enough left for the Democratic primary. So then one wonders why they scheduled the two primaries for the same day in the first place. That's one big question out there. The number of polling places has since been reduced to 432. This is only 432 polling places when Prats himself said that they're expecting up to 700,000 people to participate in the Democratic primary this Sunday. Now, they've admitted that with only 432 polling places, there's no way that 700,000 people are going to be able to vote. As a matter of fact, they've estimated now that only 300,000 people are going to be able to vote, which means that up to 400,000 Puerto Rican voters are not going to be able to participate in the Democratic primary. So this is a voter suppression that is in the making, that's worse than Arizona, that's worse than Rhode Island, it's worse than anything we've seen so far in the 2016 primary process. Now, to make all of this worse, the voting hours are only from 8 o'clock in the morning to 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so that's only 7 hours. There's much less in the way of public transportation on Sunday. Of course, people go to church as well. What makes it even more difficult is that people are going to have to vote in their local primaries at one polling place and then go to another polling place to vote in the Democratic primary. And they're going to have to get all that done and navigate the lines before 3 o'clock. In the local primaries, they're using electronic voting machines for the first time, so there's going to be long lines there. So they're going to have to navigate the lines for that and then figure out how to get to the other polling place within their precinct for the Democratic primary. So this is a really big problem. Now, another problem to add on top of that is that the local Democratic Party is refusing, up till now, this is Friday evening, to release the certifications for the Sanders poll representatives to work on the polls on Sunday. Now, this is very important because there needs to be representatives from each of the candidacies, the Clinton candidacy and the Sanders candidacy, at each polling place, because the ballots are counted by hand right there on the spot, and there needs to be representatives from each party there on hand to make sure that that count is carried out correctly and accurately. Now on Friday evening, those certifications have not been released. And without the certifications, these poll representatives cannot work there on Sunday. So we're a day away from the Puerto Rico primary without certifications. Now, early voting there's not early voting in Puerto Rico, but there is early voting in the prisons. They allow, which is good, they allow imprisoned people who are prisoners to vote ahead of time in the primary. So that's already taken place, and they didn't even want to let the Sanders representatives in to the prisons to observe what was going on. They had to get a lawyer and they had to put pressure on to be allowed to get someone in there to verify what was going on. Now, Kenneth McClintock, who's another one of the Democratic Party bigwigs in Puerto Rico, tweeted out today in his Twitter, you're welcome to go and look, it's in Spanish, and he said, Clinton is ahead in the early voting in Puerto Rico. Now, one wonders how he knows that, considering that the votes go into a sealed box and are not supposed to be counted until the polls close on Sunday. So, to summarize, to get this all summed up, we're looking at a voter disenfranchisement of up to 400,000 people in Puerto Rico on Sunday. People are going to have to go to 2 different sets of polling places in order to vote. They're only going to have 7 hours to do so on a day where there's much less public transportation. The Democratic Party has put out about 5 different lists of polling places over the course of this week. It keeps changing. So it makes it very difficult for people to find out where their polling place is. There are no certifications as of yet for poll workers. And going on what we've seen in the early voting process in the prisons, it makes it very difficult to believe that the process is going to be held fairly going forward. So what we'd like to do is to put out a call to the Puerto Rico Democratic Party to release those certifications. If we're going to have only 432 polling places, and let us recall, in the last contested primary in Puerto Rico, which was 2008, between Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, there were 2,306 polling places. 2,306 in 2008 compared to 432 this time. And lest anyone were to believe that this is a money issue due to the financial crisis in Puerto Rico, which of course is real and very serious, at no time has the Democratic Party used money as a pretext here. They've used lack of poll workers as a pretext, and poll workers are volunteers. They're not paid in Puerto Rico. And so that brings us back to our original question of why they decided to put the Democratic primary, which was originally supposed to be a caucus, then they changed it to a primary, on the same day as the local primaries in the first place. So let's go forward. Let's make sure that everybody gets their certifications. Let's make sure that those 432 polling places are open. And let's try to make the best of what is a very, very bad situation that is shaping up to be the most serious example of voter suppression so far in the 2016 Democratic primaries. And this is something that the American press has practically ignored. So thank you very much for your time, and we'll be giving updates as this process goes forward. Thank you.
All right, so that's not a good thing, and we were talking earlier. The delegates has been resolved from prison, but Scott, this is one of those times where you pretty much have to you agree with him, right? That's outrageous. That's ridiculous. That's
yeah, it's going to be a train wreck. It sounds like
it's good, and there's nothing we can do about it.
Wait in line for hours.
It's going to be far worse than Nevada, far worse than Arizona. Yeah, and they can talk about what to do to fix this for next time, but the truth of the matter is, it's going to be insane for people tomorrow in Puerto Rico. And
sounds like they should have had it on another day if they couldn't use the same poll workers for both events.
Well, geez, we know how that goes with the DNC and picking dates, and I mean, that's historically they've been. I want to ask you this because Bernie does this all the time. You remember the speech he gave the other day where he was talking about, what if your grandparents come up and ask you, I can't believe, you lived in an era where women couldn't vote, or I can't believe you lived in a time where gay people didn't have equal rights. If I went back to Scott in 2000 and told him about this in Puerto Rico, would you go, pfft, or would you be like, fuck, really? What would Scott in 2000 think?
Well, there were over 2,000 polling places in 2008, so 8 years ago they did it better than they're doing it today.
How many did they cut 8 years ago?
2,000. They had over 2,000 polling places in 2008.
Okay, so in 2008, okay, and that's 2008. In 2000, when you were blowing things up for Al Gore, all right, what would you have thought of Puerto Rico?
Wait a minute, blowing things up for him. I was outside.
I'm just joking.
I did go inside the day that Bill Bradley spoke.
All right. Well, all I'm saying is back then.
I wore a T-shirt that said "Gore out of UWA lands." That's what I wore inside the Democratic Convention in 2000.
Nice. See, you were much more radical back then. Get soft in your old age. So this would have been out.
In the end, I didn't vote for Bush, right? Let me see. Yeah, I didn't vote for George Bush, though. I voted for Gore in the end. I didn't.
But you weren't liking Gore to begin with.
I didn't vote for Gore that year.
Scott's still trying to remember what the hell he did. Never mind, everybody. I was just
But I was living in California.
All right, you were living in California. All I'm asking is that kind of bullshit. Would you have hightailed it to Puerto Rico and said this is crap?
Strategically, I voted for Ralph Nader.
I see.
In 2000. I knew that if I lived in Florida, though, I might have voted for Gore.
All right, fine, thank you.
Stole it anyway.
All right, just so everybody knows, we're still waiting for this to start. And the last thing I saw is they were like 35 minutes delayed, and I'm waiting on an update on that. I saw something on Bernie Sanders' speeches and events say something to the likes of there's a fire somewhere. That's not surprising. I don't know where the fire is. I'm guessing California. You know,
there's a lot of fires.
Right, California's on fire all the time these days. Whatever, this one's a new one, and apparently they're talking about it.
When I was looking for local feeds, most of the local news is showing hills burning and stuff like that.
All right, so apparently they preempted the rally to show more fire.
Oh, well, I don't think they were planning on showing the rally. Those are just regular newscasts.
Well, no. I'm saying whoever's Bernie Sanders speech and events, whoever they're scraping from, they were supposed to start, and they've delayed the start, apparently. So I'm not sure what's going on there, but just to let you guys know, we're waiting. As soon as we see something, and if you guys catch it on a channel, I'm like watching your conversation right here. If you're like, oh shit, it's over here, except I can't use live satellite news. So if live satellite news shows up, go watch it over there. But if I try to put their stuff on our screen, he goes nuts, and he puts birds and stuff all over his screen. I don't know what happened. So just go over there.
He knows that whether we're there or not. He thinks it's.
I think he does it anyway.
Yeah, he thinks his birds are cool.
No. But he was saying messages to us. It was the strangest thing. It was like, why are you using my feed? Like, why not?
Well, that's how he knows that it's the feed, because they showed the birds and.
I know. We already know, guy. We know. It's look.
Nobody
Here's the deal.
else put that stuff on their feed.
I want to make it clear to everybody. I'm not saying I need to run around and take everybody's content that they made, their special copywritten content, and steal it for our purposes. We're not trying to make bank off monetized content from other people. What I'm saying is that political speech belongs to the people. And if you're kind enough to be able to provide political speech, you can't be a douchebag and then lock it down on your own channel, because that kind of voids the idea of freedom of speech and political speech belonging to the people.
Think it's his content. I think he's scraping.
Of course he is. Of course he's scraping. Everybody's scraping. That's the thing. It's not even his content. You know? Now, live satellite news may be different because, or no, not live satellite news, not him. There's another guy that, like, he's there, like, he goes on site, and I actually had a conversation with him.
You can tell that the lower quality of the video, too.
Right. It was running 480p, and he had a conversation with me. He was just, how dare you? I've been working for 10 years. I'm like, it's fucking political speech. Fuck you. Do something else. And that's I'm sorry. That's the way it needs to be, because it was interesting. I gotta say this. I was catching this thing that Bernie was doing before this, which was just a small town hall with Latino community somewhere in California, and they were talking about some 1996 bill or law or something that was into effect that really screwed them. And I'm like, well, it's not the 1996 Telecommunications Act, unless that had some shit packed in there for Latinos in California or whatever they're talking about. So there's something else that happened in 96. What?
Was Prop 187 96?
Maybe, I don't know. But they were certainly hitting on that. They're like, you got to do something about this. You got to. So it must have been something Bill did, something else Bill did back then. I will have to look up the history on that, find out what's going on there. Or hopefully they'll talk about it, tonight in this. Do you guys know? Do you guys know?
I think Bill opposed it. I think everybody opposed it.
Well, why did it go through? What?
It was the voters.
Well, what was it?
It was an anti-immigration bill, I think. Prop 187.
So it was white man racism.
Yeah.
No. Apologies. It was just us greedy-ass white people.
But I think the Supreme Court overturned it.
Oh, did they?
I think so.
That's good. See, I don't even know the history on all that. I'm so arrogant, or ignorant and arrogant, actually, as a white guy on all that stuff. I don't know. It's good to learn. I talk about the 1996 Telecommunications Act all the time. And obviously, here's something else that happened in 1996 that wasn't too good for human beings in the United States of America. But that's the reason why we have to scrape these channels and bring you speeches. I'd have to. You realize I had to do this if we were pro Hillary. If Scott and I, for some reason, and Scott's just a little ill with the whole voting for Hillary at the end. But if Scott and I both had some serious disease, and for some reason we really thought Hillary were better, right? We would have to scrape content from these channels to show Hillary as well. You know, same with Trump. They lock it all down, and they don't own it. They don't get to own it, and it's wrong. It used to be in the hands of public broadcast systems. It used to be in the hands of the people. It belongs to the people. First Amendment says that, and we need to put it back in the hands of the people.
I do have to admit, though, that the few events that I went to were Hillary events in Iowa. They provided Wi-Fi, so we could have probably had better streams than
well,
Bernie events.
And we know why. We know about that, don't we? Because when we were first trying to get all this going, they were telling us some venues were charging $2,000, $3,000 just to have a direct line access.
Oh, that's the debates. The debates, that's crazy what they're doing.
No, not just that. I'm talking other venues. I had conversations before we got the LU70, where they were like, it's just too expensive. We'd love to broadcast here for you, John, but it's too expensive. It's too fucking expensive. But the Hillary campaign has all sorts of money. A super PAC could put up for that, right? Just like, oh, I bought internet, use mine. or basically, we are Comcast, here you go, right? I'm sure there wasn't any cost involved if it's Comcast and it's Hillary's network. It's CNN, they own the satellites. That's the unfair advantage. Everywhere Bernie had to go, they were like, so what's it going to cost to get this up on the net? You know any back guys, we get this up on the net for everybody, because otherwise it's locked down to you networks. And you're going to take our content and you're going to chop it up and use it out of context. That's the whole reason we existed in the first place, was so that we could show all of Bernie's rally, all of his words, and not the chopped up bullshit that the establishment media was putting out. And that just pissed me off. I remember watching it. I was like, wait a minute.
First debate in Vegas, I paid like $150.
Yep. For access, and it sucks, didn't it?
It wasn't good. And then Drake, I paid. I don't even remember if we ever got a stream from it.
No, we didn't.
But then debates after that, the prices were ridiculous.
They were, and we're paying less now monthly with the live view system that it would have been per event, and we couldn't even. That was the problem, is we couldn't even guarantee the quality. Like, well, sure, we'll sell you shitty Wi-Fi, whatever. You know, it was terrible. I'm running through comments, guys. Let me just take a break here, Scott. I got to check on things. This thing hasn't started yet. I need to mark some things. I want to shift gears really quick to something I think is really cool. Jimmy Dore, and yeah, I'm playing a lot of TYT stuff because they're just cranking out the good stuff these days, and I just want to say thank you guys for not being assholes about your content. Monetize away. Please, monetize away. Make whatever you want on passive income, but thank you for letting us share your content. You understand the sharing economy, the internet economy, how this works. Everybody, please go to TYT. Even those of you who think Jank is a little soft on the Bernie wagon there and whatever, he's kind of like Scott in that realm. They're older. They're just a little scared. We'll get them. We'll take care of them. Well, we'll show them. We'll get to them at the convention. It's okay, everybody. But TYT has been very gracious with producing outstanding material and not being assholes about letting other independent networks utilize that material. And that's big. That's certainly big for a media network that is definitely trying to expand and grow, and that costs money. No matter how much we hate to say it, having a media network costs money. You know, the fact that this one does anything at all is a miracle because the people agree to come here and do all of this for nothing. And that's unheard of. They're actually doing it here for Bernie Sanders and the planet, right? But you know what I mean. There's no pay going around. So I want to thank TYT. And yes, Scott, what are you trying to say?
In defense of me and Cenk, as long as Bernie's name is on the ballot, we're supporting Bernie.
Right. I understand. And we'll just leave it at that because we don't have to make that decision right now. We've got we've got some primaries to take care of first. So I'm just saying, the reason I said that, Scott, is because I see a lot of people like, screw Cenk and he's a shill, and I'm like, no, I don't think simply because he's being pragmatic with Scott that he's a shill. I don't go there at all. I don't think so. He's done an awful lot to help the Sanders movement and campaign, and so I just don't. Yeah, what he's doing with Fusion and where they're going there, I don't know about that. But again, that's a business move, and Cenk and his fan base are going to have that discussion together, right? So that's up to them whether he maintains the integrity of the network or not. I wish them luck, and I just again I thank them for the quality content. We're going to watch this Jimmy Dore piece, and the reason I want to preface this before we get into this thing hasn't started yet. It's a 5-minute, 40-second piece. I haven't watched the whole thing yet, but it's Jimmy Dore being very honest, candid about his marijuana use, and I want to be candid about mine. I use cannabis. I grow cannabis. I enjoy it. I'm an alcoholic. I don't drink. Been sober for years. I have epilepsy. I have grand mal seizures, and I used to have a lot of them. And I took all the drugs for years to stop the seizures, and they sort of worked. They cut down the number of seizures I have. The only thing that has ever stopped my seizures, and right now we're going on a pattern of I don't think I've had a seizure in 6 months, which is really good because I used to have them about every 2 months. And before I started smoking marijuana on a regular basis, I was having them much more often on a very erratic level because mine are tied with REM sleep and the lack thereof and kind of an overstimulus in the brain. What seizures do to me is they eradicate chunks of my memory. They just completely obliterate the ties that I have between my memories and smells and other associations. And you have no idea how powerful smell is with regard to memory until you lose it. Until you lose those connections and you try to rebuild them, and you rebuild them in a crazy-ass way. And trying to remember who you are and where you are and what you do, all of that has to be rebuilt after a massive seizure. And so I use it for that reason. I use it because I have back pain from an L4, L5 fusion. I use it because I enjoy it recreationally and because my mind is pretty insane and it helps me calm down and focus on one thing. I use it for all sorts of things. And I'm very angry at our government for having lied to us for a century about it. And I think every single person in prison right now for marijuana should be released and given years of life back in compensation with hard cash that should be taken out of Congress people's pockets. Because it's just horrendous what we've done to people for simply smoking a joint. New evidence keeps coming out every day about the value of cannabis and what it can do. The science is out. Those of you who are ignorant on the science, get informed. Because what you knew was of the government, and it was all pure bullshit. Let's listen to Jimmy talk about it.
Say. What do you say? I say smoke pot every day.
Me too,
That's
Jimmy.
what I say. It helps me get in touch with my feelings. It helps me get in touch with my fellow man. This is all true things. Are all true things. But you know what? But what if it's bad with you? But it helps and it enhances sex like crazy. It makes movies more fun. Makes me experience music on a deeper level. And of course, I don't have to tell you about what it does for food. But, you know, there's all those negative health effects, right? What about all the negative health? It's bad for you. That's why it's illegal. That's why you go to prison if you get caught with marijuana. They send you to prison in our society. Well, they did a study, and I was reading the Washington Post, which also featured me last week. Hello, thank you.
You're in the cheers and jeers
Don't
section?
freak out. Yes, don't freak out. And they did a nice article. Our friend Dave Weigel did a nice article on the Young Turks and gave me a nice paragraph or two. So that's why I'm taking down all those videos about Dave Weigel. All right.
I was a guest in the jumble.
That guy knows how to. He jiu-jitsu'd me. He's got me being nice to him now. So guess what about marijuana? I'm reading the Washington Post, and guess what the headline was? Oh my God! Chronic marijuana use is about as bad for your health as not flossing. Why would they compare it to not flossing? First of all, that's like I've said. You mean it doesn't give you lung cancer? No. You mean it doesn't? What were all the other bad? Does it give you tumors? No. It doesn't. I don't know. Whatever the bad things they said it did to you. Does it hurt your brain development? Like Dr. Who's that Dr.
Dr. Drew?
You
Dr.
just
Drew
answered
says?
your own question. Does it hurt your brain development like they doctor?
That thing I can't remember.
That thing I can't
shit.
remember. Dr. Drew. Dr. Drew says that it's really bad marijuana because of your brain development. Well, here's what so none of that stuff is true, turns out. None of it. Marijuana, not bad for you. No negative health effects. None. In fact, they said it doesn't affect your long-term memory, doesn't affect your brain, nothing here. But guess what it does do? What they found was surprising. After controlling for other factors known to affect health, especially tobacco use and socioeconomic status, marijuana use had no negative effect on any measure of health except for dental health. People who smoke more weed had a higher incidence of gum disease. Now, they don't know why. They haven't figured out why. I have a theory on that.
Sure, let's hear it.
When you smoke out your mouth, that creates an environment for bacteria to grow in your mouth. So I know I used to hang around a young lady who used to smoke a lot of pot. She always had dog breath. It was horrible because her mouth would get dry. So when you smoke pot, you have to be mindful of that.
No, Jimmy, that was a dog.
That was a
actual
dog? That was an actual dog.
Oh, you're really stoned.
I'm really high. So
that's true. That's
my theory.
That's why tooth decay is so predominant in meth users.
Does it make their mouth dry?
It's because of dehydration.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. So if you smoke pot, just stay hydrated. I always carry a bottle of water around with me.
And floss.
I floss like a maniac. So I'm flossing, I'm drinking, and I'm smoking weed, which is good for you.
It's not good for you.
No, look what AIDS patients take it. Hey, if it'll cure AIDS, imagine what it'll do for you.
It doesn't cure AIDS.
It cures AIDS, and imagine what it'll do for your flu. That's what I say.
It will not fix your flu.
I'm pretty sure it cures those things.
Look, you know what it cures is a little boredom. That's what it cures.
Have you ever smoked pot when you had a flu?
No.
Then how can you say that?
No.
I have. Guess what? I was cured. Cured.
That's not clinical information.
I know people who are on HIV, they take pot, cures them.
It does not. ACT cures them.
Okay, it's AZT. ACT is a test you take to get into college.
ACT is a very good theatrical school in San Francisco, but I think that would also help more than pot.
All right, I'm not sure about any of this stuff, but I do know this. Chronic marijuana use is about as bad for your health as not fun. So it's good for you. None of that stuff they said.
That is not saying it's good for you. That's just saying it's not bad for you.
I think it's important to be irresponsible in this situation and to overstate the effects of this study.
Look, I would say pot would probably make flossing a much more enjoyable experience. But let's not say it's good for you.
I'm going to say it is, because if I don't have my weed, it is bad for me.
Do you know how much bad television has been caused by pot?
I wouldn't say that's pot. I'd say if the people who make bad television need to smoke more pot, and I bet they'd make better television. Show me one pothead making bad TV. I don't think they're out there.
I like to put floss in my bong.
Oh, that's good. You put floss in your joint, so then you get the...
Smoke it.
Yeah, cure. I'm just saying, all I'm saying is that according to this report, cures everything. Don't freak out.
Yeah, I like that. Actually, if for some reason the media was going to cover this, they'd probably run with that if it was to their best interest to say it like that pot cures everything. I'm sure if it was something else, a pharma derivative there of cannabis, that they would say so, as long as you had the money to afford the drug. Yeah, we're still waiting on this to start, everybody. That's the honest truth. I like what they had to say there. Jimmy Dore's right. It doesn't have any negative effects. They keep coming up with more of these things. Even if you are a daily smoker, what happens, and I know this because I am a daily smoker, is that 20% of your receptors, your cannabinoid receptors, go down. And if you wait, you want to just stop smoking pot for a couple days, then get that back up. I don't care. Smoke every day. I do it for a number of reasons, so it really doesn't matter. But that's it's not like alcohol. It's not debilitating like booze, which we push all over this world. When I was a young Catholic boy being brought up in the cult, I was given a small glass of wine at special occasions. Why? Because we drank. Because that's what you do. You drink booze. And that was okay. I'm helping take care of a person who is dying now of booze, stage 4 cirrhosis. And I can tell you that what they're going through right now, that they're going for is death. What they're going through right now is horrific. And, well, I'll just say this. Marijuana has never caused a death. Marijuana doesn't cause debilitation like that. Marijuana doesn't turn kids into useless, wastoid, idiot sitting on the couch doing nothing. Does none of those things. That's just a bullshit myth that was perpetuated by establishment media and the government. I am one of the kids who grew up from that era. I learned at 16 that Just Say No was full of shit. Right? But it should be that way about booze. I don't understand why we can be so wonderful with the booze industry when it causes so much death and destruction and horror in this country. It's just another one of those, something's wrong here. Something's very wrong here. And I noticed somebody said that they smoke pot and it makes them paranoid. The way you deal with paranoia and your weed is to either, if you grow your own harvest, wait for a later harvest. Late harvest, where 80 to 90% of the hairs are orange, is actually a lot less paranoia, a lot mellower, a little lower THC level, but it's totally great, and you won't get the paranoia effects that you would get out of a right-on-time harvest or an early harvest, where you're going to get a lot of the paranoia. And you can ask for a strain at your dispensary that is known to just provide that happy, awesome effect and not have any paranoia. Super Silver is probably my favorite. It's a Cannabis Cup winner. Numerous times over. That is the antidepressant of the universe. I also deal with a lot of mood swings, and I used to know classic bipolar syndrome, or bipolar symptoms, not symptoms. All right, not diagnosed in that sense, but my wife will tell you that now I don't have these massive swings. It does so many things. We're learning about all the things it does, but what it doesn't do is harm you. And we put people in jail for smoking it, and that's bullshit. That's wrong. And that's really the point here, is that we need to fix that. We need to fix that. I'm just checking on the feeds here. Nothing started yet, everybody. Thank you for hanging in. I know we're waiting for this to start. It's going to be fantastic. What I'm afraid of is that they've already kicked in with the musicians, and we're not seeing any of this shit. And if that's the case, hopefully we'll get whatever Bernie's got going on, and we'll see that. But that's what I'm worried about. We are on a roll with TYT stuff, I guess. I loaded up some videos here to just cover it. We're gonna go to I forget who this guy is. This guy is with TYT. This guy used to be the TYT Bernie show, I guess, because I ended up with like 6 different TYT clips. That was not the goal here. Not the goal at all. But this is a short one. The majority of voters think Hillary Clinton should release her speeches to banksters. Go figure. That's a shocker. Here we go.
Many months have now passed by, but I'm sorry, Miss Clinton, people have not forgotten about your damn transcripts. Take a look at this poll. It's done by Morning Consult, released Wednesday, found that nearly 2/3 of voters think that Miss Clinton should make public those speeches, including 3 she delivered at Goldman Sachs after leaving the State Department. You've heard a lot about these speeches. She made millions upon millions of dollars for these private speeches to Wall Street firms. 2/3 of voters think she should still release them. And in fact, 47% of Democratic voters say that she should release the transcripts. I'm going to go out on a limb and say a lot of those are Bernie fans. But while that may not scare her, 2/3 of general election voters thinking it's a big deal, that should scare her. And here's the thing. It's not going away. It hasn't gone away to this point, and eventually Trump will start bringing it up too. It's time to release them. And once she finally does that, then one of 2 things can finally happen. Either she didn't say anything that bad, and we will move on. I will move on. Trump will not have anything to attack you on that topic. It'll be a great day for Hillary Clinton. Or on the other hand, if what she said was actually so bad, so self-serving, so in service of Wall Street, that it effectively disqualifies her in the eyes of either the primary voters or the general election voters, then thank God she'll have done it now, while we still have time to nominate a candidate that people can trust when it comes to Wall Street. But regardless, it's time to do something about this. We can't just let it go on forever. We have to get to it eventually. And it's up to Hillary Clinton how long she drags this out and how much damage she's willing to let it do to the Democrats' chances come November. And that's my final judgment.
All right, that's final judgment there on that. Yeah, we need to see those. What are you saying, Scott?
I don't think Trump is in a position to demand that the transcripts come out. He's not releasing his taxes, and
but he could release his transcripts, and that was all she asked for, right?
Right, but what's going to be the difference between what she says to Wall Street and what he says to Wall Street? He doesn't have any gain.
He says to Wall Street. He doesn't care what he says to Wall Street. He can release it. It could say "fuck everybody" and I don't really care. And yeah, we're going to make a bunch of money this year, and he'll get away with it. We only care what Hillary says. Trump's side of the team will be like, "Go, you go, Trump." They won't care. I don't think they'll care.
He's trying to get mainstream Republicans to vote for him.
I know. I was joking, Scott.
So if Hillary, if he gets Hillary to release the transcripts of these pro-Wall Street speeches, that those people that he's trying to, she's not that bad. That's what the mainstream Republicans will be. That's why he won't go after the issue.
All right. Well, he's going to go after something. That's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for to bring his onslaught of Trumpness onto the Hillary campaign. They're going to have no idea what to do with it. It's going to be like the dudes from Clockwork Orange. Like, I don't know. It's the Trumpwork Orange is what we're going to have on the Hillary campaign here real soon. It's going to be crazy. But before I forget, everybody,
going after
what?
Foster and all the old Clinton scandals is what he's going after.
Good. Let's bring them all up. That's what we need. Let's resurface all that stuff. Make people realize just what you're dealing with there with Hillary Clinton. People are telling me that Bernie's going to be on C-SPAN at 6. Other people are telling me that TYT is got a live feed right now. You guys want to drop a link to that? I'm happy to use it. I don't have a feed. We're waiting for Bernie Sanders speeches and events to kick on. They have not started. We're waiting on this other channel we found, live presidential rallies and events. They have not started either. I do not have a local feed, and we're shorthanded here in the staff. So if you guys want to pull up or deliver a screen recording
on C-SPAN is the town hall meeting.
Oh, Jesse just dropped a note that, and thank you. So that was from earlier today, right, Scott?
Yeah.
That was what he just finished, everybody. But somebody said 9 p.m. Eastern, Bernie Sanders, C-SPAN. They saw that event, and that would be now. But
the question is it live or is it a...
Right, because they rerun shit. All right, so you guys drop me a link when you can find it. No, I do not have the TYT link. If somebody says TYT's live right now, if they've got a Facebook feed going or a live feed going, I'll drop that until we get one of these other guys cranking. Virgin Islands, I'm sorry, Jesse was telling us Virgin Islands declared Bernie the winner. Go figure. Democrats abroad, it's an article about that. Democrats abroad overwhelmingly Bernie the winner, and the media didn't cover that at all and didn't mention it as significant. And I don't know what is the significance of it other than the world is for Bernie. We know that. They're certainly not for Hillary. If you've been fracked by Hillary around the world, if you're a country that's been fracked by Hillary, raise your hand. That's what that should be the new pledge. If you've been fracked by Hillary, raise your hand. Let us know how proud you are. How's that working out for you? How's that fracking? How's that oil going? That fuel? How's your environment these days? Some troll Trumps are trying to. I love this. This is hilarious. Some troll Trumps are trying to say that socialism, Bernie's version of socialism, is going to be like Venezuela's, and that because they're failing right now. Look at that. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? They also have oil as their primary export, and there's no price in oil right now, so they're a little fucked economically, which I believe is the real reason, right, Scott?
More than likely.
More than likely.
I think that I think there's a lot of countries not buying their oil too. Is it?
Well, exactly. Yeah, I mean they have that, but they were doing okay. They were
I don't think the U.S. will import their oil.
right, but they were doing all right either way. They were like, fine, fuck you, U.S. They were doing okay until the oil price bottomed out, and now it's really caused a lot of problems for them, you know, because that's their economy was based on a lot of that, and oh well,
But
that's what it is.
when they privatized the oil industry, or no, they took over the oil, the government.
No, they nationalized it.
The
Yeah.
U.S. and not nationalized is the word I was looking for. Not
Right.
privatized.
Right.
That's when a lot of the Western countries started boycotting their oil.
Make America Venezuela. Sorry, I'm reading it. Somebody posted in chat, Scott. I don't know about that. Make America Venezuela, but they do a really good job of producing a biofuel from sugarcane. I will give them that. They definitely moved in that direction. Many other countries moved in that direction of realizing that it made a lot of sense to produce a renewable energy and work on renewable energy. And now countries like Portugal, Germany started generating all their energy from renewables. Chile, they've got a little just a slump right now in the copper thing going on, so there's not a lot of copper mining happening, which uses a lot of energy, and so they have extra energy to spare in their country. Chile has enough solar energy banked that they can hand it back out for free. Wow. Wish we were that country.
He'd break up the banks, but I haven't heard him say he's going to nationalize anything.
No, and I'm not. Listen, the only thing I want nationalized is something like place a voter, like a 21st century voter system, and that's going to take a while. But the energy grid should be, and once we put and here once it becomes a rule that houses have solar panels on every home, there will be enough energy to be banked. The government can subsidize battery banks for homes. And this is exactly what they don't want. This is exactly what the government doesn't want, because this stops making money for them. This ends the money train, the easy money. And that's what they don't want. They don't want free energy for all of us. It's right there. We can have it. We could spend our money on it. Instead, they want to spend $1 trillion. Obama wants to spend $1 trillion on new bombs. That's where he wants the money to go. At the same time, he wants to cut troop pay. What an asshole. When we could invest, it wouldn't even cost, I bet it wouldn't even cost a year's worth of the military-industrial complex budget to convert the entire damned country to free green energy. But they won't spend it. But they're willing to spend $1 trillion to build new bombs. And I bet you that'll get pushed through with flying colors.
I agree on the nationalizing of utilities and stuff like that. If you look at California during the rolling blackouts that Enron caused,
yep,
there were no rolling blackouts in Los Angeles because
that's
there was no public power in Los Angeles. But it was the private place, and there was enough energy. But the problem was Enron was creating the crisis so they could sell the energy out of state at a higher price.
Mm-hmm. And that was allowed to happen because of what? Deregulation in the energy industry?
Yeah.
And yes, who deregulated? Who deregulated?
If it was still state-run, there wouldn't have been that problem.
Right, right. And when was that? When was that? What year was that? When around was that happening?
Oh, that was before. I think it was around 2000, not too long after 2000.
That's what I thought, because I was living in California at the time. I remember it happening. And we actually had rolling blackouts out where we live, which was out Rialto, Inland Empire, the IE, which is basically the dirt pile of Southern California. And LA, you're right. LA did okay, but we had rolling blackouts all over the place, in other places, and or brownouts. We had brownouts too, not blackouts, but brownouts. And I remember that. I remember that very much. It was ridiculous. I saw somebody say a couple things I want to correct. Somebody say that St. John's is the only island in St. Thomas, St. Croix not in yet. So I just want to correct that. We don't have all the Virgin Islands in for Bernie. I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say I bet they all come in for Bernie there. Although my understanding is that, well, a lot of the St. John's is where a lot of the rich live. I know that. Kids go to school on one island, live on another island. It's very interesting to watch them go to school. And the kids out there have to wear like black corduroy pants, dark, long corduroy pants. I used to have to do this when I was a Catholic boy in Catholic school in Colorado. But I can't believe on the islands, like pink cotton shirts and dark black corduroy pants. Just, oh my gosh, talk about, fighting climate change by absorbing heat. I just say, no way, I don't know, but they must be used to it. And I hope those islands don't get destroyed by what's coming in climate change because of the warmer temperatures. And we're going to see some serious devastation in that regard. What else did I want to correct? Somebody said, so can marijuana cause a seizure? No, it stops them. The truth is that marijuana does not affect any of the primary survival systems, the primary organ systems. So it will never stop your heart from beating. It will never stop your lungs from working. It can't. It doesn't affect that level of brain function. So it will never, ever, ever be able to do those things. So it can never, ever, 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 ever kill you.
There are some negative, like I think tunnel vision might be able to kill you if you're trying to drive or something.
Marijuana itself will not kill you. Driving while impaired is obviously stupid, and we'll go there. Determining what is impaired, I'm just gonna leave it at that. Some people probably couldn't drive without smoking weed. I'm just gonna go there. I know what the consensus
some
is.
strains of marijuana. Or...
Sure. I saw a lot of people talking about sativa. Sativa is the work strain. That's John, where's the source about the VA caucus? I did see the I don't know. Give me that source, Jesse. I did see about the one island, so we're looking for that. We're looking for it. I hope it doesn't start at 10 Eastern because that's a whole other hour that I got to vamp, and that's we've already done an hour of this, and it was supposed to start, and we're 15 minutes in right now to another hour, and that would be a hell of a lot of vamp before we actually start Bernie, and I'm going to melt before that happens. It is hot in here. I don't know if you can tell, just a little hot in here. Thank you all for staying here. Sativa, exactly. The work strain. It is, Laura. It is. It's not your grandpa's marijuana. All right, it's not I smoked it and I felt funny and I laughed a lot and things were funny and then I fell asleep after I ate a whole bunch of shit. It's not that. It's sativa is a whole new ballgame, and I think it really is the savior for a lot of ADHD, ADD, people with super fast brains that tend to go a million miles an hour. At least for me, it helps me control those pathways, slow some things down, let me focus on some things when I want to. And
I was stationed in Hawaii. I have to admit that the first time I smoked real Hawaiian, not stepped on, it did impair my...
And I will admit the same, my friend. The first time I smoked real Hawaiian, I was on Hawaii's landfill on Oahu, and they hooked me up, and I had to drive from the landfill to the hotel. It was fun. I think, and the road, nobody goes fast on that road. It's a slow road anyway. So I was doing like 25 miles an hour. Got in, got back to my hotel room, didn't leave for the rest of the night. It was intense. And I know you understand. And marijuana is everywhere. I want to say this statement, Scott, because you'll laugh at this. A Vietnam vet, Frank, who I sometimes get my cannabis from, was talking to his brother and talking about the VA and how the VA is testing the vets, but the doctors and nurses don't give a shit because they're like, really? I mean, seriously? And his brother said, Frank, really, they're testing. He goes, do you know a Vietnam vet that doesn't smoke marijuana? Like, no, they all do. Right? And did you say, Scott, you were stationed there?
In Hawaii, yeah.
Under what branch of the military?
The Army.
Thank you for serving our country. Thank you. And apparently you enjoyed the best of Hawaii while out there. Yes, everybody, we're still waiting for this to start. We really are. Look at them. They're putting some of the old names, the Acapulco Gold, Redbud. Yeah, absolutely. We could tell stories all night, G. Coolian. Yes, we could. Old marijuana stories. I wouldn't mind doing that.
There's more to that story I want to that I don't want to.
No, no. Come on, out with it, Scott. I'm gonna make you tell it eventually. It's too late now. It's too late now.
I don't know how I got to where I woke up.
Oh, it's one of those. What happens in Hawaii on weed stays in Hawaii on weed. Is that where?
I was at. He wasn't the play. I was at the kitchen table, just sitting there in apartments I didn't know. But the people then said I had to. I woke up around 5 a.m., 5:30 a.m. I had to go to PT in the Army, and I was just out of it. And this old lady, the grandmother or mother or whatever, gives me, this is speed, this will help you get up. But it turned out to be a Quaalude, and I was out of it for the...
Oh, all right. So not marijuana. We're getting into some other fun things. That's the other part of the story. When we mix our salad drugs, you had drug salad. That's all right. That's lovely. At least you were at a good place to do that, Scott.
Well, I ended up going to sick call when I got to the base, but I couldn't stay awake for the doctor, so I ended up getting my stomach pumped out. So.
Oh, nice. Nice. That's a good story. Stories from Scott around the world. Thank you, everybody. That's a great story. Just yes, we are. We are.
It would help me, but.
What? Oh, the speed would have helped you. Yes, it would have, but it was not speed. It was not speed. Trump uses Napster. So I just want to give you guys some message. Any word on when this starts, Bad Wolf? No. About 30 minutes ago, I want to say we said about 30 minutes, and I'm waiting on these things to start. I will say this. There's a note here from Cindy Matthews. It says, Facebook page for Dem Party of Virgin Islands. Everyone, votes are still being counted in St. Thomas and St. Croix. St. John has reportedly finished their count, but we haven't received official numbers. So far, though, we can say that Bernie Sanders won St. John. That was 34 minutes ago. Now, that has nothing to do with whether this rally is starting yet. I'm just letting you know that about the actual numbers in terms of the Virgin Islands. No, I don't know when this is going to start. I wish it was started already. And
yeah, probably started. It's probably all music right now.
It probably is. They're probably having a great time, and they're totally blocking this out, which is it's pretty typical for the establishment, because it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be, especially in L.A., for fuck's sake. You really have to change the way these things work.
The only time we ever got music was when I was in Iowa and I was able to put it, or a concert in Las Vegas.
We've had a couple lucky times where we had. Was it just you?
Break them, or was it me? It was just me, I think.
Oh, I thought we got lucky with C-SPAN once too, and they covered it, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Maybe they just come in late. Josh Fox is talking right now. Where? What do we got it? Let me take a look. Oh, that's not what I wanted. If you guys give me a link, TYT link is really? TYT link is us, and we're waiting on somebody. You guys just let me know. I will put up. Look, you understand how this works. I'm just a conduit. You guys bring me a link, and we'll put it out and amplify. And I'm just waiting on one of these guys to start, honestly. And it sucks if Josh Fox is talking right now. Where are you guys seeing this? Is it in a Facebook? I can grab Facebook. I can grab Periscope. It doesn't matter what it is. Just give me a URL, whatever's going on. And if it's a national feed, I can grab it and crop it. So just let me know where it's happening if you guys have it on something. And actually, give me a second here. I suppose I could run this here. Just while I wait for response, let's listen to Justin Bartha, who I recognize this guy's face from like so many movies, but I just like, oh, that guy, but I can't think of the character. But I love what he has to say to Bernie Sanders about being taxed as a member of the 1%.
Hi, I'm Justin, and I support Bernie Sanders because I care that my daughter can grow up in a country that she doesn't have to lie, cheat, and steal to get ahead. I also care about taxes, So as a member of the 1%, I want him to tax the shit out of me.
I love that. I love that. Because he understands that the money he has really doesn't mean shit if his daughter's dead. That's the logic right there. If his daughter doesn't have a planet to grow up on, and by 2036 we're looking at 2 degrees Celsius. By 2036 we're looking at 5 to 9 feet of sea level rise. By 2036 New York will be gone. By 2036 Florida will mostly be gone. So he is smart. He understands that even though he's rich, he's got a daughter who he'd like to have live a life on this planet. And he's smart enough to say, tax me. Take my money. Do what you need to do. Because it ain't worth shit if I'm dead and so is my daughter. Right? And I just think it's awesome. If TYT is waiting for us, I just want to say that's awesome because we're waiting on Bernie Sanders' speeches and events. And I have no idea who they're waiting on, but everybody's just waiting to cover this rally, and we all want to do it, and this is what I mean about working together. Because it doesn't matter where you go to watch Bernie, okay? Just as long as you watch, just as long as you take part, and you try to bring other people along, and you share this message, and you feel the passion, and you rise up and take action. That's all that matters here. We have a planet to save. And TYT, they want to save it just as much as we do, just as much as Scott does, just as much as Justin does. The only people that don't understand that that's where we're at right now are the establishment and the people that continue to be loyal to the establishment. And that number is dwindling fast as we open the eyes of everybody in this country. So please, 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 find a feed, work with us, watch the feed. It doesn't matter where it's coming from. We've got a very simple task, is to change our government as quickly as possible so that we can save the planet. That's it. And if it happens the way Scott wants it to happen, great. If it happens the way I want it to happen, great. As long as there's no violence. I don't want any violence. I just want it to happen fast. Faster than Scott wants it to happen. That's all. I'm just impatient. Right? Scott should be impatient too. He's older than me. But he's like, I'll wait for government. Scott's been waiting for as long as Bernie. Well, not maybe as long. He's been doing this shit since the 80s. I would think he'd be more impatient than I am. Bernie's got to be insane. Scott just has more faith in the system. I don't know. Do you? Do you still think the Democratic Party has a chance of life, Scott?
I think if we take it over, I look at what has happened to the Republicans, and it's the same model. If we do what the Tea Party did and infiltrate, then we can change the Democratic Party.
All right. Can we do it fast enough to save the planet? Can we do it? No, here's the question. Can we do it fast enough to begin the end of fracking, to get fracking banned? That's my question.
It's going to take a few years, I think. So.
Okay. Can we do it in 2 years? Can we do it in 4 years? Can we do it in one election cycle, do you think? Do you think we could change out enough people to ban fracking in one election cycle?
I think this could be the last election cycle that the third way corporate, the New Dems, have control. I think that I don't see another candidate like Hillary. Well, they'll probably polish up Julian Castro or someone like that. But
who do you think they're going to go for?
Well, somebody like Julian Castro's a congressman in Texas.
Okay. Why? That's who you think they're going to... Why? Interesting move.
Well, he's a rising star. They put him up front at the last convention.
Oh.
He's somebody that they've been grooming.
And what can he do?
Continue the establishment Democrat reign.
So this is the Hillary replacement you're talking about.
Yeah.
I see.
Not in this election. The next.
Oh, next round. Next round. I see. Oh, I see what they're doing. I'm sorry. They're I get what you're saying. They're making an Obama. They're just doing it with a different.
There's a chance. Elizabeth Warren. I'm not 100% sold that Elizabeth Warren is good on foreign policy, and then I don't know where she stands. She's always talking about the domestic issues and everything. She's really good on breaking up the banks and issues like that. So,
Well, so they're gonna bring that guy in. That's standard. But we're not gonna let them. We're not gonna let that happen.
but he doesn't have this Clinton machine.
He doesn't have the okay.
So I think that they're beatable next time.
All right. And here's my thing. So we wait.
It could be 8 years instead of 4 years. That's a problem.
No, because the environment will destroy us before then. We'll be in such dire need before then. There won't be. That's what I'm saying. Like we can go on Scott's method. That's fine. And even if somehow we end up screwing up this election
in November.
What?
If Hillary wins in November.
If Hillary wins in November, then
the nominee 4 years from now too is the incumbent.
Yeah, except she'll continue fracking. She'll continue fracking. Things will get far worse. We'll have massive environmental disaster, and they'll impeach her ass. So, I'm going there. I also want to address this. There's some people that think that Warren is going to vote for Hillary. Do you think Warren will vote for Hillary if she's the nom? Do you think Warren's a good Democrat in that sense?
Oh, in November she'll vote for Hillary if Hillary's the nominee.
All right. So she's going that way too. I still don't think Bernie's going to do that to us. I think he's going to offer us a different way if he doesn't get what he wants at the convention. So that's my hope. That's my hope. I don't want the slow way. We don't have time for that environmentally. And yeah, guys, we're still waiting. Thank you. There's like more than 800 people here. You guys are awesome. Hey, there's Scott, everybody. It's not what I meant to do.
I don't think they're showing the music is what's going on. I think whoever they're scraping from's not showing the music.
Yeah, it's not happening. It's just not. It's weird. It's just late. And if this really isn't starting until 7,
it's happened other times where there's been concert the night before a rally, and we have to wait until the speeches start.
I know. But man, if they're starting this late, this.
Well, there were a lot of bands there. Also, Motley, Foster the People.
I know. Oh, I know.
So.
I absolutely know. I was excited to listen to them. I was excited to listen to them very much. I'm disappointed that we weren't able to grab the feed. I think
a lot of them are in San Diego tomorrow night.
I mean, think about this. This is ridiculous. That it's unfortunate that the establishment media isn't more interested in being journalists, in providing the news, because it's such a beautiful story of the people and Bernie Sanders and what we've done. You know, such an amazing story.
But they show the news part.
Of course.
I think their logic is that the other part's entertainment part, and they don't need to show that.
Well, I understand that. I understand that they say that, you know. But I put it this way: if it were a Hillary rally, and she had a whole bunch of people talking before her thing or playing before her things, which she doesn't because she can't get those people. All she can get is like George Clooney to sit down and have dinner with her. But if she could actually get people to play music in front of her, they would show the whole fucking thing. They wouldn't have it. They'd make it a big star night extravaganza for Hillary Clinton and friends. You know, the problem is she doesn't have enough friends that she can get around to do that with.
I
know.
One of
she
the
can pay
rallies
enough.
canceled this week. I don't know if it was canceled or she had it. But in New Jersey with Bon Jovi.
Oh yeah.
Like a sort of.
I wouldn't be surprised if that just got booed. Bon Jovi. What's up with him? Really?
Yeah.
That's just... I don't like him that much anyway. Richie Blackmore or whatever. All right. Yeah, you guys, we have nothing. Sorry, we got nothing. Live satellite news, is that where you found it? Do they have something going on? Or are they showing the shit from earlier today? Because oftentimes they show the earlier. If you're talking about the town hall, that's from earlier today. And I could run that if we want to watch the town hall. I could pull that up. We could watch it. It's really good. It's a good discussion. That's on Bernie Sanders Speeches and Events. We can start running that if you guys want. Hang on a second. Is this new? Is this live? No, but we've got News Universe, everybody. I've got another stream. Hopefully they're not grabbing from us. They generally don't. So this is good. We'll keep an eye on this too. And she's living on a prayer. That's a good one. That's a good one. Bon Jovi, the wrong band for Hillary Clinton right now.
Actually, when is Game 2 of the NBA championship?
Is that what we're interrupting right now? I have no idea. I don't follow sports.
No, I want to see the national anthem. It's going to be Carlos Santana.
Oh. I think we're going to have the commas hold off. Yeah, guys, stop until Bernie's ready, please. I'm not showing any of the comments, guys, because I know that we're waiting for Bernie to show up and want to rack them up, and I kind of stopped after a while. And it's such an arduous task to be copying and pasting all those comments. So please, thank you so much, Brad. We'll just hold off for a while until we have this going. And I promise you, as soon as we have a link, we'll run it, guys. Let me see if I can. Let me pull up the speech from earlier today, because I honestly I got to turn off my mic. I got to open that door and get out of this room, or I'm going to faint from heat exhaustion here live, and that's not going to be good for anybody, because then it'll be a really, really boring stream. So give me 1 second here. I want to show you a meme from. What? You got something going?
Well, this News Universe channel says the rally should start in Central.
Yeah, I'm waiting for them to kick in too. They haven't started yet. This is everybody. Look at this for 1 second while I pull up this other video link from earlier today. Dr. Franz Whitfield is a good friend of ours, and he has been on the program a number of times, and he is now running for the Iowa Dem Black Caucus chair. If you're in Iowa or want to help out Franz, just reach out to him on Twitter or connect with them. And please, he's at the Mount Carmel Baptist Church in Waterloo, Iowa, and we wish him the best of luck with that. This.
Thank you all for coming out.
I think this is what we're going to run. This is 16 minutes, 42 seconds. I think this is a piece from the speech earlier today, the indoor event of the town hall. I think this was just dropped. I know this was just published. So it says Los Angeles, California, June 4th. We're going to run this until we get the live event. And as soon as I see the live event, we'll cut to it. All right? But this way, you're at least getting some Bernie. You're getting a burn fix. And it's fresh. Here we go.
Thank you all for coming out. As all of you know, this coming Tuesday, 3 days, there will be primaries in New Mexico, South Dakota, Montana, New Jersey, California, and a caucus in North Dakota. The Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico are voting this weekend, and Washington, D.C. Democrats will have their primary on June 14th. Now, I have no idea what the vote totals will be in these contests, nor do I think anybody else knows. But I believe we have an excellent chance to win a majority of these primaries and caucuses. In California, which has the primary with the most delegates, the most important primary, there are 475 pledged delegates at stake. In my view, if the voter turnout is high, we will win California, and we stand a chance to win it with a big margin. In terms of delegate math, I think there is some confusion in the media. Right now, in terms of delegate math, as you all know, it requires 2,383 votes, delegate votes, to clinch the Democratic nomination. As of today, Secretary Clinton has 1,769 pledged delegates, and I have 1,501 pledged delegates. It is extremely unlikely that Secretary Clinton will have the requisite number of pledged delegates to claim victory on Tuesday night. Now, I have heard reports that Secretary Clinton has said it's all going to be over on Tuesday night. I have heard reports that the media after the New Jersey results come in, are going to declare that it is all over. That simply is not accurate. There are 931 pledged delegates at stake in contests between today and June 14th. For Secretary Clinton to get to the magic number of 2,383, she would have to win 2/3 of those pledged delegates. Frankly, unless I am very, very mistaken, that is absolutely not going to happen. In other words, at the end of the nominating process, no candidate will have enough pledged delegates to call the campaign a victory. They will be dependent upon super delegates. In other words, the Democratic National Convention will be a contested convention. It is true, obviously, that Secretary Clinton has received the overwhelming support from superdelegates. There is no debate about that. She leads me in the number of superdelegates by an overwhelming, approximately 10-to-1 margin. But here is the point. For the media to be lumping together on Tuesday night the pledged delegates and the superdelegates is just not accurate. Pledged delegates are pledged to vote for their candidates. Superdelegates make their final decision at the convention on July 25th, 6 long weeks from today. Superdelegates can and have changed their candidate choice in the past. This is not Bernie Sanders stating an opinion. This is from Luis Miranda, Communications Director for the Democratic National Committee. I don't always agree with the DNC, but this is what Mr. Miranda said in a recent interview with Jake Tapper of CNN. Quote, superdelegates, I think one of the problems is the way the media reports it. Any night that you have a primary or caucus, the media lumps in superdelegates that they have pooled because they call them up and say, who are you supporting? They don't actually vote until the convention. And so they shouldn't be included in any count on primary or caucus night, because the only thing you are picking on primary and caucus nights are the pledged delegates based on the vote. That is what the communications director of the Democratic National Committee says, and he is exactly right. So for the media or anybody else or Secretary Clinton to say on Tuesday night, let's add together all of the superdelegates that I have, plus the pledged delegates I have, and we're over the top, is inaccurate. Now, I am not naive. I am pretty good in arithmetic. I understand that the battle for the Democratic nomination that I am waging is a very, very steep climb. No one has heard me say differently. But given the fact that when I began this campaign a year ago, when I was 60 points behind Secretary Clinton, when I was 50 points down here in the first poll done in California, and where just the other day there was a poll that had us 1 point ahead, we have come a very long way, and steep climbs and challenges are not something that this campaign shies away from. As all of you know, I am not a great fan of the current nominating process. It is a deeply flawed process, and whether I win this nomination or whether I do not win this nomination, I will do everything that I can to change it. The idea that more than 400 superdelegates came on board Secretary Clinton's campaign before any other candidate had declared their willingness to run for office is totally absurd. That is called an anointment process, not a democratic process with a small or large d. Imagine that, the establishment coming on board and saying, this is our candidate, doesn't matter who is running against her, doesn't matter how the campaign unfolds, that is our candidate. The idea that these superdelegates were on board Secretary Clinton's campaign 10 months before the first vote was counted in Iowa is totally nonsensical. And that is a process which must be changed, and I will do my best to change it. Clearly, as everybody knows, the political world has changed since April 2015, when Secretary Clinton received the support of 400 superdelegates. Now, as we go forward, let me be very clear that I do understand that we have an uphill road to travel, but I do also want to make it clear what I will be telling to these superdelegates, because they are now in their position, whether I like it or not. Those are the rules I intend to change, but they are the rules right now. And the case that we make to the superdelegates is fairly obvious, and that is the election of Donald Trump as President of the United States would, in my view, be a disaster for this country. His bigotry against Mexicans and Latinos, against Muslims, against African Americans, against women, against veterans, is not something that can be tolerated in the United States in the year 2016. Further, his economic agenda will result in the rich becoming much richer, while everybody else continues to become poorer. And clearly his foreign policies are extremely reckless. Donald Trump must not be elected president. Therefore, the Democrats need the strongest possible candidate to defeat Donald Trump. And I believe, and the case that I will make to the superdelegates, is that based on all of the objective evidence that I have seen, the Sanders campaign is the campaign to defeat Donald Trump. In national poll after national poll, and in statewide poll after statewide poll, we defeat Trump by much greater numbers than Secretary Clinton. Polls in California, in Michigan, in New Hampshire, in New Jersey, just within the last few days or few weeks, and other states show that we defeat Donald Trump by much greater numbers than does Secretary Clinton. In fact, as you may know, there are states where Secretary Clinton actually loses to Trump while we defeat Trump, North Carolina among many others. The latest NBC national poll had Bernie Sanders beating Trump by 15 points, Clinton beating him by 3 points. There have been some national polls in which Trump actually came on top of Secretary Clinton. But polling is not the only reason why I believe that I am the strongest candidate. What our campaign has done is to bring millions of people into the political process who previously were not engaged. And that is working class people, and that is young people by the millions. Voter registration, right here in California, Secretary of State just came out with some numbers yesterday in which voter registration has surged here in California, and it is equally true in many other states around this country. And here in California, that surge is tied to young people registering to vote as well as Latinos. This is extremely important. But equally important, from the perspective of any delegate going to the Democratic National Convention, is the simple fact that our campaign has the energy, it has the enthusiasm, and it has the grassroots activism that a national general election campaign needs to bring out a large voter turnout. Here is a political truism. Republicans win, as they did in 2014, when people are demoralized, when they give up on the political process. When voter turnout is low, Republicans do well. When people are energized, when they are prepared to stand up and fight for change, Democrats do well. I think all of the objective evidence suggests that our campaign has the energy, has the enthusiasm, which will translate into a large voter turnout in the general election in November. And that means not only do Democrats retain the White House, we regain the U.S. Senate, we do better in the House, we win governor's races all over this country. I am running for president because I want to give the American people a real choice in this election. A choice not just to vote against somebody, but to vote for a vision for where our great country can become. It is very clear that Donald Trump's negative ratings are enormously high, unprecedented for a major party presidential candidate, and Secretary Clinton's negative ratings are also very, very high. I think it is important to give the American people a choice about a new direction, a future that calls for a government that represents all of us, not just the 1%, a future which says that we will not continue to have a corrupt campaign finance system which allows billionaires to buy elections, a future in which we have a minimum wage that is a living wage, which is $15 an hour, a future which says we're going to rebuild our crumbling infrastructure and create 13 million decent paying jobs, a future which says that we will pass comprehensive immigration reform and a path towards citizenship, a future which says that we will join the rest of the industrialized world and guarantee health care to all people as a right, not a privilege, a future which says that, yes, we are going to leave this planet in a way that is healthy and habitable, which means that we will take on the fossil fuel industry and we will transform our energy system away from fossil fuel. And by the way, we will also end fracking so that people in California and in America can have clean drinking water. So that is why I am running for president. We look forward on Tuesday to do extremely well. And I would just add that for all of those people who said, well, you know, Bernie, you should drop out, think about what they are saying to the people of California and the other states that have yet to vote. Now, maybe I am old-fashioned, but I do believe that the people of California, the largest state in this country, should have a right to cast their ballot to see which candidate they want to become president of the United States.
I really don't think it's too much to ask to have democracy function for everybody that lives in the United States. And that even includes the people in California and North Dakota and South Dakota and New Mexico. And where else? Let me get my list here. Where else? Where else does Hillary Clinton not give a shit about? New Mexico, New Jersey, Got a lot of family in New Jersey. Bernie Sanders cares about you too. Yeah, Montana, District of Columbia. I've never seen this happen before, where the establishment media is just so eager to end this. We got to stop now, before people find out just how much of a liar she is. Before our ruse is blown. Well, your ruse is blown, you dumbasses. But that you're actually trying to push this dead politician through, and I mean that in terms of she's a dead horse in the race. She's got nowhere to go. She's got a record that's terrible. She's going to get eviscerated by the Republicans. She's going to get eviscerated worldwide, and she's going to kill the planet anyway. Right. The fact that they're trying to continue to push this just blows my mind. Blows my mind. It's so sad. History is going to look back on this if we survive. And everybody that was loyal, everybody that remained loyal to the establishment, that's what they'll be known as. Look back in history what that's like. You were a loyalist. Oh, God. Seriously? You were that naive? You were that ignorant? You were a loyalist? You voted for the establishment? Wow. Wow, how dumb were you? That's like when Bernie Sanders says, hey, Grandma, Grandpa, you knew climate change was happening. You didn't do shit. You knew temperatures would change. You didn't do shit. Yeah, we are doing shit, aren't we? We're taking this back. Wow, 1142. That's because everybody thinks it's going to start. By the way, in terms of start time, it looks like News Universe had this right all along. They just created an event, and they're giving me a countdown right now of 7 minutes. 7 minutes. Supposedly, we're going to have something. Come on here. I got 3 independent channels we're tracking. Actually, just give me 1 minute to get this last one up here. News Universe. Really appreciate all of these independent channels scraping. I couldn't find them today. Not today. We're gonna run a couple of the pieces as we wrap this up. You want to go back in time? You want to go back in time to what we should have words we should have listened to. This is Eisenhower. This is him leaving office, and he did this speech when he left office because he was scared, because he was talking about the newly emerged military-industrial complex and how it needed to be brought to heel or kept in check at least. Listen to what he has to say. It'll scare you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
Good evening, my fellow Americans. We now stand 10 years past the midpoint of a century that has witnessed 4 major wars among great nations. Until the latest of our world conflicts, the United States had no armaments industry. American makers of plowshares could, with time and as required, make swords as well. But we can no longer risk emergency improvisation of national defense. We have been compelled to create a permanent armaments industry of vast proportions. Added to this, 3.5 million men and women are directly engaged in the defense establishment. Now, this conjunction of an immense military establishment and a large arms industry is new in the American experience. The total influence, economic, political, even spiritual, is felt in every city, every state house, every office of the federal government. We recognize the imperative need for this development, yet we must not fail to comprehend its grave implications. Our toil, resources, and livelihood are all involved. So is the very structure of our society. In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist. We must never let the weight of this combination endanger our liberties or democratic processes. We should take nothing for granted. Only an alert and knowledgeable citizenry can compel the proper meshing of the huge industrial and military machinery of defense with our peaceful methods and goals, so that security and liberty may prosper together.
Only an alert and informed citizenry. That's something we haven't had for decades. We have been fed bullshit by propaganda machines that we've called the news for decades. And we are no longer an informed and alert citizenry. We're becoming that again. We are working very hard, very fast to wake ourselves up and pull our heads out of our collective asses with regard to what's going on in our democracy today. And there are people like Scott, people like Bernie Sanders, who've been looking at us for years going, come on. And now they're like, thank God it happened before I got too old to do anything about it, right? So 2 minutes, 47 seconds, according to this, we're going to start. And Scott says there's a link to a sound check. I'm going to bring it up here, TYT, because Jimmy Dore is on scene, of course, which is cool. What, Scott? What are you saying?
Minutes, the video. He shows people in line, and you can hear a band warming up in the background. Or they might have been playing. There was people inside already when he did it.
Where the hell did you drop it? Now I can't find it. Shit.
Live production.
Oh, newsroom. No, you put it in the newsroom. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. I'm going to grab this and run this, but we should have something popping up here really quick. Believe me, I got all the channels running. And when it starts going, I'm monitoring like 3 channels on 2 different things. I'm going to hear Bernie like 10 times 10. And so I'll know immediately that it's time to switch. But let's check out this Young Turks stream right here.
I don't think he has a cameraman. I think it's him because all of a sudden you get his nose for a while.
Holy cow!
We're live at the LA Coliseum at the Bernie event. So it's not. I thought it was going to be inside. This is where it is. Let me give you guys a better view. So of course there's a crazy ton of people here already. And I'm going to show you the line to get in. There's a line. So there's a ton of people still trying to get in. You see them trickling in. So we're going to be checking in several times today. Stick close to the Young Turks Facebook page. We'll let you know when the event really gets kicked off. Right now, we're still there's thousands of people here trying to get through, and doesn't look easy to get through. It's going to get very crowded. There's a lot of people that are not here. A big crowd. Yeah. So there's a ton of people. They have a small space. We're not in the entire Coliseum. We're on the outside of it. I'll show you. So right behind that position is the actual stadium. We're kind of on the outside of the stadium. And I don't think there's going to be enough room to handle all these people.
I don't think Jimmy realizes he's got this thing zoomed up, but it's you know.
Live on Facebook. Say hi, Johnny, to your fans. There you go. Hey.
How's it going, everybody? This is the Young Turks. How's it going?
Good to see you, Johnny.
I can't escape its eye. No autographs. No. I won't autograph your phone.
I can't watch any more of that. It's making me sick. Sorry. Scott found that, said it would look. It's not live. That I don't know when that was recorded. Obviously the bands are going. You know, we're missing the entertainment. Bands are playing.
No, that could have been sound check though, because people were still trying to get in.
All right. So that's hopeful. It could have been sound check. And yes, listen, I've done that before. I put Janine on so close to camera, just like. Rah! So poor. You know, we've all done that, and the comments are great. You know. You can see her nose hair. Yes, you can see Jimmy Dore's nose hair. Look, he's there. He's reporting. We thank him very much for being there. And I'm sure he's going to smoke a joint and laugh at himself when he sees this clip. So he's just going to kick back and go, oh, boy, I fucked that one up. He's just going to. So anyway, we're waiting. Hang on. Let me make sure something didn't start here. Shit. all three of the standby streams are basically nothing right now. I'm just gonna. There's nothing going on in these streams. Let me show you guys. This is Bernie Sanders speeches and events has not started yet. This is live presidential rallies and events. These are all YouTube channels that you can grab. And they're all grabbing a scrape of whatever feed is being pushed out, ABC, NBC, I'm not even sure yet. Once I find it, I can probably go to the source. This is News Universe. And I just want to say, you know, all of these guys are independent broadcasters. They pay their own bills. They buy their own gear. They do whatever they do to do this. And thank them so much for working with us to do this. This is what it takes. We're the rebel force. This is a resistance. This is what it takes to fight a political revolution in the 21st century. Is streamers getting together with all of their tech and battling the corruption in our government, battling the media blackout and the propaganda machine. So I'm so proud of everybody here that we can be a part of this, and where is it? TYT Facebook live feed. Somebody's screaming. Just sing us a song. You need to sing you a song? Really? All right. Somebody verify that, Scott. Did this go live, or is there a different stream hidden right now?
I don't.
That doesn't look like a live. That's just the clip. Oh, ran out of comments. Sorry, guys. I didn't mean to do that. I totally didn't mean to do that. Comment mods, I apologize deeply. My goal was actually to stop on that marker, and you see how well that does when I'm trying to pay attention to marker and talk on camera. It doesn't work very well at all. We'll lay off the comments right now. Let me make another mark on that. We will not touch the comments. I promise, Bad, that I will not touch the comments until Bernie gets up on stage, because I know you guys like to have some laying there in the bank. So I apologize deeply for running through those. We are going to track hashtag Bernie in LA, because he is, and that seems to be going around. Just waiting for one of these to start up. I have no idea where they're pulling this, but wherever it is, they're waiting for the music to stop and the speakers to start, because they just don't want to deal with copyright bullshit. That's really what's going on right now. Scott, I just want to say, congratulations, my friend. This is really like the old days, and we have vamped for 2 hours. we have been on for 2 hours waiting for Bernie Sanders to show up, and I don't know if you guys remember the old days when we started back in June of 2015, but we would do this sometimes, just sit on here for hours. We did an hour pre-show, hour post-show. Different back then. The streams were harder to find, but Bernie was on time because there weren't as many overflows happening, and that's all changed. That is totally all changed. TYT Facebook page. Audio is good on the TYT stream. Can somebody drop me a link so I can go direct? If they're running this live and it's happening. Yeah, that's absolutely right, Dragoon. The YouTube copyright bullshit. I fight that almost every other newsroom they block something. It's absolute bullshit. You're absolutely right. If you guys are watching a live, I will cut to it as soon as I have it. It's just impossible for me to go searching for it while I'm talking here and doing this. That's why I try to run the videos in between things. Music right now. Right, but is it actually still going? Because we were looking at that earlier. That doesn't look like the same. Okay, that's a different number. All right. Hang on a second, guys. I'm here. Trying to do too many things at once. Look at this cover that actually has the wrong day and it has the wrong date on it, and that's my bad. I didn't catch that earlier. This is actually Saturday, although when you're doing this 7 days a week, they all just kind of flow together. I'm going to drop what you guys have in here for broadcast in here, and we will see what's going on. I am being told this is the live TYT broadcast. And let's see if it gives us something here. All right, we're going to swap over to the TYT Facebook until we get something else.
So thank you guys so much for being a part of that with us. Let's vote for Bernie, yeah? This is our last song.
All right, everybody. It looks like they're cutting off. There's this is coming directly from this is Pop Trigger. Is live now. I thought this was TYT. I apologize. This is Pop Trigger, and we'll get that link to you guys. This is not TYT. This is Pop Trigger. I'll get that in there. I'm just looking at this right now. Somebody dropped this feed to me. It's working great. We appreciate it. Thank you so much, Pop Trigger. We'll get that name changed in the lower third. And we appreciate you delivering this feed via Facebook. Everybody go find Pop Trigger on Facebook right now and grab this and say thank you to them, please. And hopefully Bernie Sanders or one of the speakers will be starting here soon. I'm going to look for the TYT feed that I thought this was in the first place, everybody. Thank you guys for educating me on my ignorance. Pop Trigger is a part of the TYT network, and I'm just learning that from chat. All right. Well, either way, it's Pop Trigger on TYT. Oh, here we go, and it looks like it looks like Bernie Sanders' speech and events is grabbing a different feed here. Everybody, give me a second. That's still the best speed we have there. Hang on, everybody. I'm trying to figure out. We got duplicate audio coming through here. It shouldn't be coming through on your end. I'm trying to figure out where it is on mine. And yeah, we're waiting on audio. And I guess, Scott, that was coming out of your, that was on your side of things. All right, so right now I've got no audio coming out of this right here, everybody. Working on that. Give me 1 second. So this is coming from Bernie Sanders' speeches and events, but it's obviously somebody with a phone. And the lighting's awful. Do my best to. There you go. That's what we got. We got two other stream options here. I'm waiting for possibly one of those to kick in. Otherwise, this is where we're at. Yep. Yeah, Kara, I've already got that one. We're waiting on that to actually start. Yep, that's the same feed I'm pulling right now. Thank you. This is the best we've got right now, everybody. If I can find something better, we'll go to it. Otherwise, really want to thank, that's Bernie Sanders Speeches and Events that's delivering that for us right now. Just let the ambient music go in there. How is everybody doing in chat? We've been on here a while, waiting for this to get down, waiting for the live Bernie. Hillary cannot win. No, she cannot. It will be a contested convention one way or another. I even have some rumored inside knowledge that there are some things going down that will absolutely prevent Hillary Clinton from winning this on a first ballot run. Bernie never lies. That's absolutely right. Well, somebody should be getting up to speak here soon. And you're absolutely right. If Ollie was alive, he would have voted for Bernie. Absolutely. I thought something was starting there.
Bernie, 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 Bernie. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Joshua Wilson, I'm the statewide field director for Bernie 2016 in California. I have two questions for you today, Los Angeles. Is California feeling the burn? And number two, is California ready to get out the votes? That's what I like to hear. Well, thank you so much for coming today, everyone. California has had the largest and most engaged volunteer base in the entire country. Truly the movement for Bernie Sanders. So I want everyone to just take a look around. Appreciate the folks who are around us today, because this is the movement. This is the political revolution that Bernie talks about. Yeah! But California has done a lot of work. We've been calling into other states around the country. We've been traveling across the country, knocking on doors. But now it's time to bring it home and win in the biggest state in the country, right here in California. That's why I'm up here today, because we have 3 days left to talk to our neighbors, to talk to our friends, to get on the phones and go knock on doors, to make sure that we are increasing voter turnout, because we know that when people turn out, and when voter turnout is high, Bernie Sanders is going to win here in California. So we have volunteers all across the LA area hosting canvases over the next 3 days. We're going to go door to door. It's the most effective way to increase voter turnout, talking to people face to face at their doors. And so I need everyone to take out their phone right now. Quick text reminder, everybody. Take out your phone, and if you text volunteer to 82623, you can sign up for volunteer opportunities right now to help us get out the vote in the final 3 days. Again, that's volunteer to 82623. It's so important. We've already knocked on 480,000 doors in California, and we've made more than 4 million phone calls in the state of California. But we need to do everything we can over the next 3 days to make sure that we are increasing voter turnout, because we know that when we stand together and fight, we win. And next up, a very special guest, we have Mark Foster from Foster Beach.
Because you're tall.
Okay, I'm gonna have scooters. I'm gonna have scooters.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
do that tomorrow.
And then Andy gave us extra.
We have backup scooters.
But they're slow.
Supporting the side of Bernie Sanders.
Let's do the smart one.
It's been a long and contentious primary race. One thing that I respect about how it's gone is that Bernie had a lot of opportunities to take low blows against other candidates, but he stuck to his morals and he had to win the race. He wasn't really about personalities, it's about his principles. A couple things for you guys.
All these thousands of people back over here too.
I feel so hip. I just totally got
Yeah, you totally got that.
Swamps need coming for. I will not have to fight. They take me down as prisoners ride. Yeah, yeah. Got shackles on my winter time. They can make you compromise. I spend a good time to hide. Sometimes I wanna disappear. If you got a band, no one to stress. Pass it off one day. You got the swamps you never knew. The birds beautiful here. Yeah. Shackles on my winter time. They can make you compromise. I spend the night time to hide. Sometimes I wanna disappear.
I don't know the exact time that it's going on.
Oh, for you guys, thank you.
Switch it over here. It looks like we have somebody speaking on one of the other channels. Give me a second here. It looks like Pop Trigger has somebody speaking here. We're going to swap over here.
is an activist. That says a lot. He's the first candidate in the history of the United States to never accept one corporate dollar for his campaign. That right there is enough to sell. So here's the deal. It's amazing to come to rallies like this and feel the energy and feel passionate and go have your vote being heard. But what's even more amazing is when you take the time out of your life to say, I'm not going to sleep until we get Bernie Sanders in office. Because that's what we got to do. You can, if you go to BernieSanders.com and put in your zip code, look up volunteering. You can phone bank from home if you don't have time to go knocking on doors. Statistically, when people show up to the polls, Bernie Sanders wins. So if you even have an hour, 2 hours, 30 minutes, please go knock on your neighbor's doors. It's really easy and it's fun to get to know your community. And that's democracy. Democracy is engaging in political conversations. Also something to remember with all of the voter disenfranchisement that's been going on, not only in this election, but throughout the history of our country, the best way to have your vote counted is to vote early. In California, you can take your mail-in ballot to your county registrar's office. The one in Los Angeles is in Norwalk, which is kind of far, but it's worth it. Go to Norwalk, give them your ballot, they'll give you another one, you fill it in and you see it being counted. If you mail in, you don't know if it's being counted. If you show up to your polling location on Tuesday, they can give you a provisional ballot. So the best way to have your vote counted is to vote early. And then you have more time on Tuesday to knock on doors and help provide transportation for those who maybe don't have transportation. So please, if everyone can make a commitment to take the energy here and take the words from the man, Bernie Sanders, who's going to be up here and inspire you and make your hearts explode and implode with his power and his love. This is a movement of love. Take this energy and apply it to your neighborhoods because you can talk to people I can't talk to people. And he can talk to people that she can't talk to. We really have to be each other's brothers and sisters keeper. So let's do this. Let's do it not for Bernie Sanders, but let's do it for all of us and get him in office. And I would like to introduce the amazing band, Local Natives.
John, do you see John?
How's everybody doing? Thank you guys for being here to support Bernie Sanders today. Alright, so the name of this song is Who Knows Who Cares? And it's a rhetorical question.
All right, everybody. So what I'm understanding here is I went back to the past and I'm playing the concert that was happening, and I'm not going to do that. So we're going to go back to the other one that was Bernie Sanders speeches and events, running live if I can find the damn thing. Where'd it go? Yikes. Now I lost it. This is my bad, everybody. Hang on a second. We'll get back to that, and we will run it. I apologize deeply. You're going to have to listen to this for the moment. Too many streams. I think the other one was live. Actually, it was a little darker. I'm not sure. I gotta go back to the other link.
If we're not going to be the ones to think about what's happening in our world and caring, then who is going to? Is that going to be us? And I want to thank you guys. Everybody being here is caring about what's happening in this election in the United States. Thank you guys so much.
You
so that everybody understands what's going on here, I don't have anything but this. This is as live as I've got. I'm waiting for somebody else to come through with something. Bernie Sanders Speeches and Events is running a holdover page right now. And I can't tell you what's live or not, so we're just running with this. Oh.
The whole system's crashed. No, like the power is out on me, just restarting. Yeah, on all these. Definitely Clinton. Can you hold it for a sec? For a little bit?
And we're just waiting for somebody to start up, either a band to start playing or a speaker to get up here. This is started way later than we thought it was going to, everybody, and I don't know what happened with the timing there on this one. Maybe it was delayed because of the number of people. And yeah, this is it's outside, it's hot there. Maybe they're just waiting for it to cool down. And this beat's coming to us from Pop Trigger, TYT. And as far as I know, it's live, as close as we can get. I've got nothing coming from a major station, which figures. Just makes sense. So hopefully we'll have something come in real quick. But even this background music that they play, I'd like to have it run. The problem is there's a potential for it to shut down the video in the middle of playing it because of the way YouTube copyright works, which is absolutely ridiculous. An abuse of power. It needs to be changed. And just so everybody understands, we don't have a live person on scene. I have no idea who's actually holding the phone, and they are back on the press riser, which means that's as close as they can get. So if they don't have a really good zoom, they're not getting any closer than that, and that's what we're looking at. And that is generally how it works at most of these events. Scott can tell you firsthand that he spends most of his time back on some press riser, and it takes a good zoom and a good tripod with a camera to really get up close and get those views you're looking at. So hopefully this will get started soon. I see somebody dropping a Periscope feed in there. My question is it farther along than this?
Sorry about that shit. Should we just play that again? We'll move on. You guys cut the power out, I think, because your enthusiasm. Now it's on big time. An encore? Alright. You guys got the power back. You guys got the power back. There's another song.
So you guys know what I've done here is this is the other stream we've got. We've got a stream coming in from Bernie Sanders Speeches and Events, which is this, which could be a Periscope, I don't know. And we have a stream coming in from this other one over here. So what I'm doing is going back to this music until something starts. If I see one of these streams start up with a live Bernie or a live speaker, but you can see right here that this one here is a lot farther along in time. It looks a lot closer to what's going on in Sunset to me than that other stream.
fans. We're from Los Angeles, as are probably all of you. And just want to say this is so great to be a part of this and be out here supporting Bernie, a candidate who has really been serious about getting money out of politics from billionaires and corporate interests. He doesn't have a super PAC, and all of the donations are coming from basically us. So thank you guys so much for being a part of that with us. Let's vote for Bernie, yeah? This is our last song.
All right, everybody was stopped for a second because I'm being told that there was a link with Susan Sarandon speaking right now. I've been jumping around to a billion links trying to find what's going on here, and people are telling me not to play this. This is old. It's a rerun. It's past tense. I can't grab the link while it's running here. It doesn't show up for me, so I need somebody to grab it from chat and drop it more to me. There are numerous versions of this. Is what is so frustrating about this. There are numerous versions out there of the links. They are not the original. There are many that are old stuff. It's not live, so I don't really know which one to grab, and I could use everybody's help. Okay, let's see if this one is it. We'll try this one. Being told Dick Van Dyke on stage right now. I hope this is actually live here because that has happened to us before. Wonderful. People for Bernie Sanders.
Gentlemen, I'm what's left of Dick Van Dyke. And I'm so excited we've reached the crossroads here, and it's time to go to work. I'm here for really two reasons. I like to give young politicians like Bernie a hand up. I think you can with me. But the reason I'm here is the first time I heard Bernie speak, I tripped over my audible. I couldn't. Because I said, he's saying exactly what I've been saying for the last 40 years. I can't believe somebody said it. You want to hear why? Here's what back in the 50s and 60s, democracy was working like gangbusters. There was no economic crisis because there were regulations in place. And the American people went out on the street and did something that the government couldn't do. They passed the Civil Rights Act. Well, by the way, thank you, Muhammad Ali, for all the force you did. Great man. thing was, in about the early 70s, the corporate world did not take that very seriously. There was a man named Lewis Powell. Have you heard of him? He became a member of the Supreme Court. He wrote a memorandum to the National Chambers of Commerce. And he said, and you could Google this, there is too much democracy. It is very bad for capitalism. We need to defend. I'm telling you, we need to defend ourselves by breaking up the solidarity that has formed with the American people. We need to drive wedge between them and get them yelling at one another. And if you look at television, you see how fortunate they were. And then they started telling us that the billionaires' money would trickle down. We'd get some of that. Yeah. Then what happened? They loosened up the regulations. Wall Street and the banks went insane. The bubble broke, and millions of Americans lost everything they had. Nobody went to prison for that. They went back and made more money. My deep feeling is that if Bernie's voice is silenced, those voices like him are silenced, our grandkids are going to live in an absolute oligarchy. Now, I'm afraid it's going to happen. So we need this very, very badly in our country. I will be here. I'm circling the drain now. But I have a lot of great grandkids I'm worried about. Oh, he's coming. He's coming. His hair's not going to look good. It's very windy, so well, I might as well talk about it. You know, the last time I spoke at this Coliseum, I was speaking with Martin Luther King Jr. I actually got to meet him and speak for him. That was back. I've lived a long time. I just passed 90 in December. Boy, that hurt. You know, I was reading what some of the forefathers felt about the future of democracy. John Adams, Benjamin Franklin. Did you come in?
Now, it's one thing to buffer Dick, but buffering Bernie, that's just criminal. Let's hope it kicks back in. This is the People for Bernie Sanders Facebook page, bringing this to us by something, phone, guessing.
son, Levy. My daughter, Karina. My son, David. My granddaughter, Ella. And my grandson, Dylan. Thank you all very much. Let me thank Max Carver. Let me thank Eration. Let me thank Josh Phillips, Mark Foster, Josh Fox, Best Coast, Shailene Woodley, local natives, a dear friend of mine, Susan Sarandon, Ozo Motley, and that young and sprite, up-and-coming actor, Dick Van Dyke. Let me begin by paying my respects to somebody who was a hero of mine and an extraordinary inspiration to people all over the world, and that is the great Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali was one of the extraordinary people of our time. He was not only a great heavyweight champion, but the reason that he was loved so much, not only in our country, but throughout the entire globe, I think he was one of the most beloved figures on the entire planet, was because he was a man of extraordinary honesty and courage. To all of Donald Trump's supporters who think it is appropriate to tell us that they love Muhammad Ali, but they hate Muslims, understand that Muhammad Ali was a very devout Muslim who took his religion very seriously. And when we talk about courage, please remember that at the prime time of his fighting life, when he was the heavyweight champion of the world, when he had the opportunity to make tens of millions of dollars, he refused to go to war in Vietnam. And everybody turned on him. The boxing authorities said, "We take away your championship crown. You can't fight anymore." That decision was later overturned by the Supreme Court. But he lost 3.5 years of his fighting career. But he stood for his principles. And was an inspiration to an entire generation, and in fact, future generations. And if you look at his life, when you understand a man who was involved in a very brutal business, and that is boxing and fighting and beating people up in the ring, this was a man who loved people very profoundly, loved children. And that love just came right out of him, and I think the people of the world loved him for the love that he gave us. So to Muhammad Ali, we say thank you for what you have done, not only for our country, but for the world. Rest in peace. When we began this campaign a little over a year ago, the pundits and the experts said this campaign's not going anywhere. They were very wrong. As of today, we have now won 20 state primaries and caucuses. And if all of you come out to vote on Tuesday, California will be the 21st. And 5 other states are up on Tuesday. We look forward to winning them as well. And if we can win and win big here in California and in the other states and in Washington, D.C., we are going to go into the Democratic Convention with enormous momentum. With your help, I believe we will come out with the nomination. Now, one of the extraordinary things about this campaign is that in virtually every state that we have competed in states we have won and in states where we have lost, we have received the overwhelming percentage of votes from young people. President of the United States. And by young people, I'm talking about people 45 years of age or younger. Now I know that for the 20-year-olds here, you think 45 is really old, right? President, well, you're virtually every national poll, we beat them, often by double digits. I think the last poll had us 25 or 30 points ahead of them right here in California. Every state poll, we do much better against Trump than does Secretary Clinton. In fact, in terms of the national polls, we are 10.4%. 10.4 points ahead of him. She is scarily only 1.5 points. So if the delegates to the Democratic National Convention want to make sure, and we better make sure, that we defeat Trump and defeat him badly, we are the campaign to do it. But it is not only polls. What it is also is that our campaign has the energy, the grassroots activism to make certain that in November we have a large voter turnout. And when there is a large progressives and Democrats win. And that means we will retain the White House, we will regain the U.S. Senate, we'll win governor's chairs all over America. We are going to defeat Donald Trump because the American people will not vote for a candidate for president who bases his campaign on insulting one group after another group. The American people will not vote for a candidate who insults Mexicans and Latinos. who insults Muslims, who insults women, who insults veterans, and who insults the African American community. Let us not forget that several years ago, Trump was one of the leaders of the so-called birther movement, which was a very ugly and vicious effort to delegitimize the first African-American president in our history. The American people will not vote who thinks that climate change is a hoax, or who thinks that we should give hundreds of billions of dollars in tax breaks to the top 0.2%. This campaign is about thinking big, not small. And that is where we have some very major differences with Secretary Clinton. We had the option when we began this campaign to do what every other presidential campaign has done, and that is establish a super PAC. But we said no. We do not represent the interests of the billionaire class, of Wall Street, or of corporate America. We don't want their money. No super PAC for this campaign. Instead, we did something unprecedented. We went out to the middle class and the working class and even low-income people. And we said, if you want a candidate and a campaign that's going to stand up to the big money interests, to Wall Street and the fossil fuel industry and the drug companies, if you want a candidate who's going to help create a government which works for all of us and not just the 1%, we need your help. And then what happened was unprecedented in American history. Up to this point, we have received 8 million individual campaign contributions. 8 million, averaging 27. Think about it. At a time when big money buys politicians, we have done it with a contribution average of $27 a piece. To paraphrase Abraham Lincoln at Gettysburg, this is a campaign of the people, by the people, and for the people. Chose to do it the old-fashioned way, the typical political way, and that is establish not one super PAC, but a number of super PACs. And she has raised many millions of dollars from Wall Street and other special interests, in addition to receiving lots of money for giving speeches behind closed doors on Wall Street. Now, in my view, what we have got to be doing, and as president, what I will do, is we will take on Wall Street, not take their money. Home in America. These people it's a big country thing working and has a marijuana. Every man here, we nation that means that people, women in California,
Loosen everybody.